The Return of Sir Richard Grenville. One slept beneath the branches dim, cloaked in the crawling mist, and Richard Grenville came to him and plucked him by the wrist. No night wind shook the forest deep, where the shadows of doom were spread, and Solomon Kane awoke from sleep and looked upon the dead. He spake in wonder, not in fear. How walks a man who died? Friend of old times, what do ye here, long fallen at my side? Rise up, Sir Richard said. The hounds of doom are free. The slayers come to take your head to hang on the juju tree. Swift feet press the jungle mud, where the shadows are grim and stark, and naked men who pant for blood are racing through the dark. And Solomon rose and bared his sword, and swift as tongue could tell, the dark spewed forth a painted horde, like shadows out of hell. His pistols thundered in the night, and in that burst of flame he saw red eyes with hate alight, and on the figures came. His sword was like a cobra's stroke, and death hummed in its tune. His arm was steel and knotted oak beneath the rising moon. But by him sang another sword, and a great form roared and thrust, and dropped like leaves the screaming horde to writhe in bloody dust. Silent as death their charge had been, silent as night they fled, and in the trampled glade was seen only the torn dead. And Solomon turned with outstretched hand, then halted suddenly, for no man stood with naked brand beneath the moonlit tree.
And there we are.
All right, folks, welcome to the Heretic Channel. My name is Jenova.
And I'm Gene Skinner. Welcome, everyone.
Gene, tonight we're going back to a topic that we didn't get a chance to do earlier.
Correct.
We had this scheduled earlier,
But
my computer was giving me shit at the time, and we had the first time my computer was giving me shit.
the first time the Mac was giving me shit, yes.
So we are back with this topic. We are talking sword and sorcery.
And Robert E. Howard adaptations.
Yeah, a little bit of Robert E. Howard.
Because he's the father of sword and sorcery, of course.
Sure, yes, exactly. Before him, there was nor sword nor sorcery.
Well, technically
existed.
there's Tolkien's work too, but that's not considered a high fantasy.
Tolkien, that fucking Jew. Is he Jewish? I don't know.
No, he's not. He's English.
No, same thing. But before we do that,
all right.
You know what time it is. It's time for Mundane Wop.
All right, there we go. You're good.
All right. First story I got tonight, Gene. First little bit of news. There is a rumor going around that Disney Legal has told Rian Johnson to shut his fucking mouth about him directing Star Wars trilogy.
Oh, boy.
Apparently, he's been using the publicity tours for Knives Out, which is his new movie.
Of course.
He's been using those publicity tours to talk about The Last Jedi and how it's going to be, in a decade, it'll be seen as the best Star Wars movie ever.
Who's he kidding?
He's comparing it to Empire.
Yeah, right.
But apparently, Disney Legal told him to shut the fuck up, stop talking. He can apparently he is allowed to be ambiguous, but he is not allowed to confirm that he is directing any trilogy. Probably because he's not going to touch anything. Now, I've heard him described as Kathleen Kennedy's bulldog. That's like her thing. So as long as Kathleen Kennedy's there, we're probably not done with Rian Johnson's Star Wars. Even if it's in some sort of
Also, Zach, I see you're talking about Willow again, how you love it so much. Do you only love it because Tim Curry is in it as the devil, as Darkness?
It's a good devil.
Yes, but I mean, otherwise the movie itself is really not that phenomenal, in my opinion.
No, it's not that great.
No.
It's got its place. The devil is the best part about
Yes,
it.
of course.
It's pretty good. Oh, and what is his name? Warwick Davis.
Warwick Davis, yeah,
I
is in
think
as
is
well.
in it, and not as a fucking
Yeah, it's not.
leprechaun.
Yep.
Warwick Davis is great. I like him.
Yeah.
But what's his name is better. Who's our dwarf? Who's our from New Jersey? He was in. He was Tyrion. He was Peter Dinklage.
Oh, Peter Dinklage, yeah.
Peter Dinklage. Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage. Peter Dinklage. Yeah.
He's fantastic. So yeah, Ryan Johnson, keep your mouth shut, little beta boy. Talk all that shit. What's that old saying, dude? Talk shit, get hit, right, dudes? Fight me in a back alley full of AIDS. Yeah, Ryan Johnson's a big mouth little boy. Yep. I don't think he'll fucking. It is. First of all, he is suicide. Yeah. He is movie cancer. He is movie suicide. He's like, what's her name from the Hunger Games? Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
Like, people stopped going to see her movies because she wouldn't shut her fucking mouth. So, and I think Knives Out will have a mediocre return. I don't know how well it'll do.
I hope it would flop.
Social Justice Warriors don't see movies. Like, progressives don't go out and like pay for tickets and go to movie theaters. They want you to think they do, but they really don't.
Do not. No, they pirate shit if they're gonna watch something.
Yeah, and even if they do, they don't make up that much of a fucking a movie ticket, unless you're in some shithole like LA or something like that. So yeah, Ryan Johnson. We all know what a fucking faggot Ryan Johnson is. But moving on, Robert Pattinson Batman.
Mm-hmm.
He is expected to be in not just the Batman, which is coming up, which apparently has been confirmed that it is based on the Long Halloween.
Okay.
But Warner Brothers is supposedly rebooting Justice League. And Robert Pattinson has been signed to at least 3 movies as Batman. And apparently one of these movies is the Justice League reboot that is coming. Do you remember when you had to wait like 10, 20 years before you rebooted a movie?
Yeah, I remember that.
Now we just reboot them after like 3 years.
After a flop, and you guess people forget, I guess.
I mean, people do have a short memory nowadays. So they probably don't remember the original.
Wasn't Ben Affleck supposed to be signed on for Batman for a while?
Yeah, but he's in rehab now.
Oh, right, that's true.
I think.
I don't know. Is he dead?
I don't know. Not yet. Hopefully soon. So he can stop ruining movies with his fucking face. But the Justice League reboot.
Who are they gonna have for that?
2 names. 2 names to sort of helm this movie. 2 names that you and I, we hate them.
All right, let's hear the names.
J.J. Abrams or James Gunn.
Why? Why either of these faggots? I don't want to see movies from either of these fucking tools. Fuck no.
I agree. I don't want to see Is J.J. Abrams going to ruin another franchise?
Of course he is.
And let's not act like Ryan Johnson ruined Star Wars. It wasn't Ryan Johnson. It was already dead.
Yep.
J.J. Abrams.
Gotta kill Han Solo.
It's so bad. J.J. Abrams, James Gunn. And that's the other thing. 2 people that really do a lot of work with Disney. Now, of course,
James fired from Disney. What's going on there?
I don't know. I assume a guy like J.J. Abrams probably works as like a freelance or has something.
He wants to be like his hero, Larry Cohen, but he's not.
Sure.
So he can go.
I can't believe Larry Cohen is his hero because I just don't see it in anything he makes. You know what I mean?
No.
That's Legend, you Philistine. Oh, that's Legend with the so Willow is trash.
Okay.
Willow has no redeeming factor.
Okay.
Way to go, Zach. You ruined it. You ruined. I was willing to give you credit for Willow. Now all credit is gone. I would have preferred the devil in Legend if he would have had feathers, though. I think that would have been more accurate to the real devil.
You've seen Satan?
Yeah, well, scientifically accurate, sure. He's got hooves. I mean, he's a goat. Goats have what? Fur, wool, some shit like that. You sons of bitches. Okay, so yeah, Robert Pattinson, Batman, signed on for 3 movies, Justice League reboot, J.J. Abrams.
Who the fuck's getting the Flash movie again? I remember that, but I don't remember.
Andy Muschietti, who did It films. Yes.
Why is he moving to superhero movies?
I don't know. I actually saw a video that was falsely titled "Superhero Marvel is Killing Horror," I guess. And the guy, well, he's actually, he doesn't believe that, you know. It's sort of like a response to that, which I hadn't actually heard, but apparently he had heard it. I don't know. It's on Jimmy Champagne, who is a soy boy. Like, he is such
a name like that. That's what I was expecting. Yeah.
I only follow him for news, and he doesn't usually get political. So, but apparently there's a lot. Like, you got James Wan, who did Aquaman. Andy Muschietti is moving to It. I'm sorry, from It to The Flash.
Yeah.
You know, Zack Snyder did Dawn of the Dead.
Zack Snyder still sucks.
James Gunn, you know, started in horror, and you know, he did like Slither and shit like that, and then he went on to do Guardians of the Galaxy. So there's a lot of names. They're saying even like Gary Doberman, who writes a lot of the Conjuring shit. He did Swamp Thing. So there's a lot of people from the horror genre that are moving over into superheroes, and I don't and the guy who did Shazam. The guy who did I can't remember his fucking name. The guy who did Shazam was a horror guy too.
Okay.
So there's a lot of those fucking guys moving over to superheroes, and I don't know why.
That is weird.
Oh, yeah. I know why.
Because it's money.
It pays. It pays better.
Money.
That's right.
Money.
We're in the money. Cut to that Red Letter Media gif of them counting money. So, I don't know Matt Reeves. I don't know who Matt Reeves is.
I don't either.
Keanu Reeves' brother?
No, he doesn't have a brother. He has a sister. So.
Oh, okay. I thought she died.
No, she's still alive.
Oh, that was Keanu's girlfriend, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Who got into the car? Okay.
Yeah.
But since we're on,
you know, right, Zach? You're there. You were there for that, right?
Was he in there?
I mean, he is Keanu Reeves, so we can ask him.
I'm sorry, Joe Dante couldn't be pulled off either Spielberg's nuts or out of obscurity long enough to direct a classic. Sack.
Ooh.
Gremlins is a classic.
Gremlins is a classic, yeah.
Gremlins is a classic.
It's a Christmas special.
Has Joe Dante ever done a superhero movie? No,
no, I don't think he has.
I don't know. Who knows? Maybe. But sticking with superheroes.
Oh, actually, he produced one though. Remember the Phantom?
That's right.
Yep.
He did. Okay. So there is this like sort of long-standing history of horror people going over to superheroes.
Yep.
So okay, but sticking with the superhero thing.
Yep.
My next little bit of thing. So Sony apparently is up for grabs.
Okay.
And it's looking like Amazon, Netflix, and Apple are both looking to buy Sony.
Okay.
And if Apple buys Sony, Apple has already said that Spider-Man will be in the MCU. They will be able to get it, right? There's something with the rights or whatever. And hold on, I wrote it down.
So why is Sony up for grabs?
If Sony is ever, I don't know, but if Sony is ever sold, right? It's in the contract that if Sony is ever sold, Spider-Man rights revert back to Disney Marvel.
Okay.
So they will get them for free.
Oh, boy.
And they won't have to do. So this is apparently why Disney has been playing hardball and not because they're waiting to see if somebody buys Sony.
Okay.
Apple, Amazon, or Netflix.
Yeah, I don't understand how the fuck Sony is up for sale. It's weird to me.
I don't understand either. I guess it's just the movie section. It's not like the electronics or the PlayStation or anything.
Okay.
Like that. So, but if they do, you could see Spider-Man, Venom, and Carnage in the MCU.
Oh boy.
Which, I mean, I mean, if you got a new Spider-Man, I'd be in. Tom Holland's a faggot.
Yes, he is. I mean, it's gonna be Miles Morales if it's not Tom Holland, though.
Oh, sure, 100%.
The guy from an alternate universe, when the Prime universe, he's a criminal.
Who's a criminal?
Yep.
Yeah, he's a fucking criminal.
A weapons dealing, drug smuggling, snorting criminal.
I don't think, like, I could understand Amazon or Apple buying Sony. Especially like Apple, because they have to compete with Sony or I'm sorry, with Microsoft and so many things.
Yeah.
But I can't see Netflix having the money to buy Sony.
No.
Do they have money?
I don't think they do.
Maybe they got it from the Obamas.
Maybe.
Maybe the Obamas put some into their trust fund or something like that.
Probably, yeah. Thinking about it.
Yeah. So, and it, I'm going to say this, but as much as I don't like Marvel, and I think Phase 4 and 5 look awful, they look terrible. They look worse than Phases 1 through 3. And Phases 1 through 3, they had a couple things in there that I liked, and I'm not shy about that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But Phases 4 and 5 look so bad, and I think they would look better if you had Venom and Carnage in there. I don't even need Spider-Man. He can go die. Yeah, go die in all universes. I don't care. So Venom and Carnage are cool, and they said, if you get Carnage, then you could see Carnage Pool or whatever his name is, the Deadpool Carnage.
Yeah, that happened. That happened like one time in the comics. Yeah.
Yeah, well, guess what? It's about to be canon, you bigot. It's gonna happen, dude.
Oh, Jesus.
I
don't even need any more of the Marvel people yelling in my face constantly saying, "Why don't you watch movies like this, Gene?" Because I don't like them.
Why don't you watch Marvel movies?
Because I don't like them.
They're awful.
Yeah.
And speaking of like rights, copyrights and shit.
Yeah.
U.S. rights to A Nightmare on Elm Street have officially reverted back to Wes Craven's estate.
Okay.
2019. Apparently there was something in the contract that said after 35 years, they automatically revert back to Wes Craven's estate, or Wes Craven if he was still alive. 2019 is the 35th year since Nightmare on Elm Street has been released. Boom. So they're back. So you could be seeing something.
Okay.
Nightmare on Elm Street related.
And we're already seeing that stupid queer shit that's going to be coming out.
That queer trailer for Scream Queen with that gay guy from the second movie. Yeah. If you have not seen that trailer, go to the Discord, find the movie trailer for Scream Queen that I posted, and watch it. It is fucking gay.
It's very gay.
But Warner Brothers and New Line still control the international rights to Nightmare on Elm Street.
Of course.
So apparently, I'm sure you can, if you control the U.S. rights, you've got a bigger chip at the bargaining table.
Yeah.
Because who gives a shit about Freddy Krueger outside of America?
I don't think the Chinese do.
I don't think the Chinese, that's witchcraft.
Yeah.
That's witchcraft. The communists don't like that shit.
Witchcraft. Everything's witchcraft. Oxygen's witchcraft.
I don't think you can wear any of that shit.
No, you can't.
I don't even like green and red. They'll say it's like mind control. You're trying to fuck with our people's minds and shit.
They already do that on their own.
Okay. Now we might as well talk about Rambo Last Blood.
Yep.
So I'm going to post this article in the thing. I'm not going to read this whole article, but I am going to post it.
Go right ahead and post it.
Just so you guys can see the faggot that wrote this fucking thing. Now, you just give me a minute. I'll find...
Freddy with a limp-wristed rainbow glove with dildos instead of knives to Strog.
What is it?
No, he's talking about the idea of Freddy being a gay ally now because of the fucking second movie. Wait till they start calling him that.
Oh, I have no doubt. It's coming. It'll come. That whole documentary just looks like a fucking angry dude who is just mad that he's a failure.
And a faggot.
And instead of like taking responsibility for being a failure and like and being self-aware at the fact that like you're not good,
Yep.
Like move on, do something else. The
Nope.
world needs ditch stickers too, some kind of thing.
Hmm.
I think I said ditch stickers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is written by William Bibbiani.
Mm-hmm.
If you can see his picture on the thing, if you care to look at it, he looks like a pretentious ass clown. So I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I'm going to read about half of it.
Yeah.
So I'm as simplistic action movies, setting the franchise's overt messaging aside for a minute, Rambo: Last Blood is little more than a Taken knockoff. Okay. Sure. Once again, a father figure with a history of violence warns a young woman that anywhere but their home is bad, and the movie agrees with him. Oh, you mean life agrees with him?
Yeah.
The real world agrees with him.
Yeah.
You cunt. You fucking cunt. The woman suffers horrifically for not taking our hero at his word, which gives him an excuse to kill a lot of people and feel good about it. Have you never seen a fucking Rambo movie, bro? It's an immature fantasy. It's an immature fantasy, but it can work if the movie is slick and smart. Rambo: Last Blood isn't slick and smart. The screenplay, written by Matt whatever and Stallone, has been reduced to its lowest common denominators, establishing characters quickly and then shoving them into a simplistic plot. That is to say, simplistic even by Rambo standards. It genuinely feels like the director, Adrian Grunberg, shot the outline instead of the script. Oh, Get the Gringo. Adrian Grunberg did. If you haven't seen Get the Gringo, you should watch it. It's a Mel Gibson movie. It's fantastic.
By the way, Sweets just said, looking at the journalist for Bloody Disgusting, I think we just found the true mundane wop.
Oh, yeah. He is, dude, that face is so punchable.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the problem with making an oversimplified action movie about a white guy heroically butchering non-white people is that, intentionally or not, you're making violent propaganda. It's violent propaganda, Gene. When will you learn these things?
I guess I'll never learn.
The filmmakers could have picked any villains in the world, and they chose the people that the president is saying American citizens should be scared of. Yes, they picked cartel. They picked the cartel. People you should be deathly afraid of.
You
should be afraid. Go to Mexico, get your head chopped off, and be hung from a bridge, and then come back and tell me that they're good people.
How's he gonna tell you
Stop
his head?
it. Oh, he talks out his ass. So he'll be just fine. And by presenting Rambo as a symbol of Americana, complete with the Marlboro Man's ranch and horse, and then setting him loose to exact righteous, ultra-violent vengeance against Mexicans, Last Blood plays into all the xenophobia in the discourse and exploits it for entertainment value.
I hope this guy does realize that the cartel's made up of more than just Mexicans, but probably not. Probably doesn't know that.
He doesn't. You think this fucking? I bet this fucking dude didn't even watch the movie.
I bet he didn't.
I almost guarantee this dude didn't watch the movie. He read, because there are a couple other reviews and they all dropped at the same time. I guarantee he didn't watch the movie. He got a synopsis for it, and he went off the fucking synopsis. This fucking faggot. Yeah. And the other thing, here's the other thing. Why is Bloody Disgusting a horror website reviewing Rambo? Mm-hmm. It's an action film. What are you doing? It's only there for them to push a message.
Yep.
This is to push a message. Rambo is just bloody fun. This article is to push a message. That's the part that's gross. It's gross. Ew.
Ew. Gross.
Not the emulations or the decapitations or the stabulations in a vacuum. That stuff is fantastic. But the fact that we're supposed to cheer for those acts of violence in support of a political doctrine is important.
It's against the cartel. Why are you whining so much?
Guys.
Yeah.
Bad guys are bad guys.
It doesn't fucking matter.
Who gives a shit who they are? Remember in the last fucking Rambo where he sets off a nuke in Venezuela?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Who's crying about that? Not this guy, obviously, because he didn't see that fucking movie.
No. He's never even seen First Blood,
nope.
So fuck him. Fuck this dude. By the time Rambo declares, "I want you to feel my rage, my hate," it's clear that the movie finds those motions to be wholly justified and even noble. Of course they are. Go live on a fucking border, asshole. He doesn't. He lives in his cushy fucking trust fund area in probably fucking LA or some shit like that. Never stepped into the real world. Doesn't realize all those people you hate. Yeah, they're you and all the rest of them. That's what makes LA a shithole. Yep. Fuck face. The wall's going up, just not as fast as you thought it was. It's going up piece by piece, bitch, and there's nothing you can do about it. If you agree with that sentiment, you may enjoy Rambo Last Blood. Well, you know what? Maybe I fucking will. I'm still not giving Hollywood my money because Stallone is an anti-gun faggot. Yes, you notice he doesn't mention any of that shit.
Nope.
Saying and we've talked about Stallone before.
Yeah, we have.
Saying that Stallone is
that was the whole joke about the guns are expendable title of that stream, because he doesn't believe in fucking guns.
No, he's gonna punch his way through the cartel, through the bad people. I bet if this guy, because apparently his niece is kidnapped when she goes to Mexico by cartel or something.
Of course.
So I bet if this guy was kidnapped and brutally raped by some cartel members, he would apologize.
He probably would. You're not wrong.
I'm sorry that you had to kidnap and rape me because of the color of my skin. You're a dago. Shut up. Fucking shit, dude. Holy fuck. I bet if he was going after the mafia, he would have no problem with it. But if you can somehow watch a movie that directly reflects the modern political discourse and find a way to depoliticize it, even then you've only got a 50-50. How about you depoliticize it when you watch it?
It's a fucking
because
movie.
You didn't. You knew he already had this review if he watched it, right? Let's pretend he watched it. He did, but let's pretend he did. He already knew what he was going to write when he went into it.
Yeah.
He knew it was about Rambo killing cartel. Yep. That's the synopsis for the fucking movie. Mm-hmm. He knew it was about the border. He went into it intentionally going to bomb it. He knew it was going to bomb. As if anybody listens to this faggot or cares about his review. Nobody gives a shit. People care more about my review than they've never even heard of me. The violence is astounding, but the film looks cheap and the script is derivative. It's a Rambo
it's a fucking
film.
Action movie.
Nobody's there for dialogue.
Well, yeah,
the only dialogue anybody is there for is one-liners. I want to hear the one-liners.
Jenova, don't you know that Sylvester Stallone's one of the best writers since fucking Quentin Tarantino?
Sure, of course. Didn't he write Creed? Didn't that win a bunch of money? Creed. Stallone tries to play Rambo like he's keeping a lid on it, suppressing his trauma and violence until the climax, but instead he comes across as uninvested. That's called suffering in silence, you fucking faggot. Not everybody has to run around crying about their fucking trigger warnings.
So what part of Italy do you think this guy's from, Jenova?
Probably the north, where all the fags come from. Probably, because there's no way he's Sicilian. You would not catch a Sicilian talking like this. But instead he comes across as uninvested and probably a little bored. Rambo Last Blood is a subpar action movie, regardless of its themes. But when you consider every hateful sentiment Last Blood cynically attempts to cash in on, this film goes from bad to much, much worse. 1.5 goals.
Cry about it more, faggot.
Somebody said, so killing Russians was okay, killing Vietnamese was okay, but somehow killing human monsters that are the members of Mexican drug cartels is not okay because the reviewer suddenly decided that it's in support of political doctrine. I have no idea as to the quality of the film as a narrative, and I've not seen it yet, but I've done research on the Mexican cartels and the crimes the real ones have verifiably committed over the years are horrible
Good.
enough to
I'm
be
glad
far
everybody's
worse.
blown this guy the fuck out because he's a
To be
fucking
far
idiot.
worse than you'd see if filmmakers splashed the walls red with blood in 1,000 movies.
Mm-hmm.
What a poor review. Can't say much more than anyone else has said, so I'll contribute my 1 star and exit. Second post on this review, now that I have seen the movie. Oh yeah, so a bunch of people actually went out and saw the movie after like these reviews came out.
Yeah.
The fact that Billy Boy has a problem with Rambo killing a bunch of despicable cartel members speaks volumes of how far gone he is. Sounds great. Definitely need to see this in theaters. Watched it today. Amazing film and gore. Somebody posted a Rambo gift. A 29% reviewer average on Metacritic. Propaganda. They chose the people that the president is saying American citizens should be scared of. Who are you? They didn't go far enough. If you took your pudgy soy boy ass down to Mexico and ran into a cartel, they would most likely skin you alive to mariachi music right before they cut your head off and post it to Twitter just for laughs. Who are you? Who are any of you? Badass movie, 3.5 out of 5. No personal politics and SJW bull taken into account for rating. Congrats, you've become the religious right morality police of the 90s, early 2000s.
That's called the left. That's the left who did
Poor
that.
little Billy sees political boogeyman in almost every review he does. This one isn't the worst. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was worse, where he actually lied about an interaction with Brad Pitt and an underage girl. This is supposed to be a horror site, not an SJW site. How long is BD going to continue to let this clown tarnish the site?
Because they are that way.
Change your name to BuzzFeed Horror. The reviewer is silly and not generous. I don't know what that means. This review was obviously written by someone who sits down to pee and apologizes when he comes. There are people trying to like defend him too, and I'm not even gonna.
No.
So it's okay if it's Asians. Fuck that. Rambo kills bad people. I bet the movie cleans up in Mexico.
It probably does.
I bet this movie cleans up. Wow, don't hire anybody that works for IGN to do reviews for your site. This was awful. I had no interest in seeing this movie before I read this review, but now I'm going to. Let's see.
I just keep laughing at the one about the cartel cutting this guy's head off and playing mariachi music and posting it on Twitter for laughs.
Well, this review certainly brought out the snowflakes. It's spot on, though. I could see this xenophobic waste of a film coming a mile away. Oh, okay, so that guy's not on our side.
Yeah, that's a faggot.
Hi, William. Rambo is a work of fiction. Please keep your political views out of movie reviews. His review is more fiction than the actual movie. Beta's gonna beta. Screw this Rambo movie. Downtown Abbey movie in the house. This review got obliterated by literally everyone. How about a redo? Dude, there are so many, and I guarantee it's probably like the same person signing into different 602 comments. Woo, lad. I see Bibiani's stupidity has pissed off quite a lot of people. I'll join in with the dozens of others. Bibiani, pull your head out of your ass and think for a moment. Why do so many Mexicans illegally enter the United States? What do you think they're trying to escape from? The answer is the cartel. You're so blindly focused on the race of the cartel members, you're forgetting they're the damn reason so many people are fleeing Mexico.
Yep.
Also, you conveniently left out your review. The fact that Gabriel, the girl Rambo is saving, is Latino.
Oh, you mean he's saving somebody that's not white?
Yeah. So I'm not going to go through any more of the comments, but you guys have the thing if you'd like to go through the comments and check out some other thing. But yeah, so I kind of want to see this new Rambo movie now. I wanted to see it to begin with because, like, look, Arabs aren't allowed to be terrorists anymore. You're not allowed to go after Mexicans. Black people have to be great. White people, only white people can be our villains, and like they have to be like Russian.
Yep.
Or like redneck now, even though like the Russian villain was like us. It was like a cliche back in like the early 80s and 90s already.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're back to making the Russians bad guys and shit.
That's because people are stuck in the 80s, Jenova. Come on.
They are. As Barack Obama once said, the 1980s called. They want your politics back. But now the Russians are the bad guys. So, and I do think Russia are. Fuck Russia. Fuck them. Putin's a dictator. Russians are weak and broken and fragile. And we would crush them in a war. And China too. Fuck China.
Yep.
But I think I would. I'm not going to pay to see Rambo, but I'll most certainly pirate it when a better copy comes out.
Yep.
But there actually already is a cam copy up on the site that I usually watch movies from. So, but that is Mundane WAP.
All right.
It's over. We can start talking sword and sorcery. Robert E. Howard.
Yep.
Robert E. Howard looks like Al Capone.
He does, yeah.
That's who he reminded me of. Al fucking Capone.
The Al Capone of Texas, I guess.
I still love Putin. He's my favorite political meme next to Jong-un, says Sweets. Strog says these Mexican cartels make the Italian mob look like upstanding citizens. It's true, Strog. And I mean, the mafia, they weren't ever really that bad. Banners up in Mexico, Viva La Rambo. Strug, everyone feel free to go to the IG channel and thumbs down. Oh, I went there earlier, Strug. The IGN review for Rambo is fucking awful. And they're saying the same things. They're talking about how it's disgusting to make Mexicans, and how it's
the cartel doesn't matter what their skin color is. They're fucking horrible people.
A bad guy is a bad guy.
Yeah.
I don't care if he's white, black, brown, purple, green. Bad guys are bad guys.
Yep.
They do despicable fucking things.
Yep.
And here's the thing. If we were all Mexican, if you and I, Gene, were Mexicans right now, and we were live on this stream in Mexico, we wouldn't be able to say these things.
Nope.
The cartel would show up in the next week and cut our heads off and take our family out and rape everybody and kill everybody. That's what they fucking do.
Yep.
Because they're allowed to do it, because the police force and the government over there is corrupt and in the cartel fucking pockets.
Correct.
That's why when we finally go to war with Mexico, it'll be over really fucking fast.
Mm-hmm. But they're trying to, the whole thing.
Where's El Chapo? We had to put El Chapo in our fucking prison.
Yep.
Because he dug out of your fucking prison.
Yep. The thing I was going to say is, though, that Mexico is basically trying to play nice with us now because they know how much they need us.
Of course they need us. So does fucking Canada.
Yep.
So does the rest of the fucking world. You need us. If we weren't here, it would be a fucking dystopian. A dystopian future. You're lucky.
Mm-hmm.
And America's one of those fucking countries. Can't win if we do. Can't win if we don't. It's just a lose-lose situation. If we don't do something, it's why didn't you do anything? And if we do something, it's like, oh, America's acting like the police of the world. Shut the fuck up. We can't leave you alone, because every time we leave you alone, you end up in fucking world wars and shit like that. I'm looking at you, Europe. So from now on, we will be glassing one country every 30 minutes. Every 30 minutes, we'll be glassing a country. I don't care if it's an ally or a neutral party. I don't care what it is. Prepare. And it's going to be the United Earth of America. The United Earth of America. Trump will be president of the fucking world. I know.
That sounds like a good movie.
I don't like to go on political rants.
I know.
I don't like to do that.
But you just did.
I know. Every now and then it comes out. It's already a dystopian. Maybe where you live, Hawk. But my country's fantastic. The only thing is we're an awesome sandwich shoved between two pieces of bread made of shit.
Yep.
That's our problem. That's why when we take Canada, we'll boot all the fucking Canadians out. And then when we take Mexico, will just be our parking lot.
And they can make the food for us, actually, too.
Yeah, sure. I got Taco Bell. I got Taco Bell over here. I don't care if it's real Mexican food or not. They can make our fireworks. Isn't that what they do? Don't they make fireworks?
Yes, they do as well, yes.
But enough with the banter and enough with the jokes.
I need to point to Mystery of Love,
Mystery
apparently.
Of Love.
1984.
Please get me out of here sooner. They want to send Brit Bongastanis here. We already have enough machete and acid wielding diversity hires. So sweets.
Oh, really? Oh,
That's
boy.
rough. That's rough. But I only like to get into politics when we're talking movies.
Yeah.
So I don't, people's politics are their thing. It's one of those things that you're really not supposed to talk about,
Yeah, that was what I was always
politics.
Too,
yeah, politics, religion, and money. You don't talk about.
Esau talks about money way too much.
Well, Esau's a fucking Jew.
I know.
He's a furry Jew. No, it's not even a Jew. He's worse than a Jew. He's a goy that
Lebanese.
Loves Jews. Yeah, he's a goy Lebanese that just sucks up to the Jews.
Yep.
So have some dignity. Get off your fucking knee. Well, probably hard for him to stand up. His knees, man, I can't imagine what his knees go through on a daily basis.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get out.
Let's get to the movies.
Yep. So past this.
What are we watching?
First is the Conan stuff to introduce.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Of Robert E. Howard.
It'll take like a minute or two for him to get into it. He's going to discuss what he's going to go through in the video.
Okay.
Now this is a 45-minute video. We're not going to watch the whole video. We're just going to watch the intro
Conan
where he talks about Robert E. Howard.
To Marvel Comics. 5 months later,
when he got to Marvel,
he even joined the
he talks about Marvel Comics in this video, but that's later.
Alongside other high-profile Marvel anti-heroes.
Wait, Conan's in the fucking Savage
However,
Avengers?
You may feel about that. This is a homecoming of some significance, because while Conan didn't originate with and even predates Marvel Comics, it was arguably that initial Conan comic book run from Marvel that more than anything else paved the way for the 1982 feature film Conan the Barbarian by John Milius starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, and thereby the character's mainstream success. In this retrospective, I will go through that mainstream success by exploring Conan's literary origins and how Conan came to Marvel in the first place. Then I'll explore the production and the philosophy of the Conan feature film, and to this end, I will also provide the definitive answer to the riddle of steel. Unlike most other Conan retrospectives out there, I will also detail the differences between the Schwarzenegger Conan and the literary Conan, and why the movie, for all its standalone strengths and virtues, remains controversial with fans of the literary and comic book versions of Conan. Finally,
you guys tell me, crowd,
legacy,
chat,
the
let us know
the attempted sequels,
what you think
and the other spin-offs that followed it.
Yeah, here we go.
Yep.
Finally.
Few characters are as intrinsically tied to their creator as Conan is to his, Texan author Robert E. Howard. Any worthwhile exploration of Conan must therefore begin
that they got Vincent D'Onofrio to play him in the movie?
Yeah, it does.
And go through the cliff notes, if nothing else.
Talk about a
Howard was born on January 22nd, 1906 in Peaster, Texas, but grew up and would settle in Cross Plains, Texas. In 1920, when Howard was still in his early teens, oil was found, and Cross Plains became an oil boom town.
All the
town was
alcoholics
swarmed by new arrivals looking for oil wealth, and by other new arrivals looking to capitalize on the first batch of new arrivals looking for said oil wealth. The population quickly grew from 1,500
Sweet says along the aisles, or he's
New
Belgian.
Businesses sprang up from nowhere, and the crime rate increased.
Of course, it always does.
Such booms attracts no shortage of shifty characters. Being the son of a local doctor who worked from their home, Howard had frequent exposure to the effects of the violence and injuries that came with not just the sudden and dramatic increase in crime, but also due to accidents on farms and oil fields. On top of that, Texas still had 1 foot steeped in the Wild West. First-hand tales of gunfights, lynchings, feuds, and Indian raids all profoundly influenced the young Howard. And
you can't say that.
His distinctly Texan, hard-boiled
Indian raids. No, Indians were perfect people.
Howard learned the value of physical strength and violence as a means
to confront fight each other or anything like that. No.
They totally weren't savage.
And he came to be a fan of all contests of violent, masculine struggle. Howard grew up to be a big, burly fellow who enjoyed his drink and who enjoyed fight, which he was quite good at.
That's like that meme, like my doctor said I could have one glass a day.
To such an extent that he at one point even considered
like 4 beers in that thing.
Fighter.
Or 5.
All of this is relevant, because it all seeped into his writing, and that
I'll fight him.
For all his love for physical toughness, Howard was also an avid reader of history, mythology, classical literature, and the pulp stories of the time. Above all, though, he was an accomplished poet and a professional writer who had honed his skills for years. Howard had an innate talent for visual wording, and for infusing not just his literary influences, but also his real-life experiences into his writing. He applied those experiences to distant lands and epochs, and that way made his stories come alive on the page in a way few other writers ever could. The central theme in Howard's writing is that of civilization versus barbarism, and nowhere was this more apparent than in Howard's Conan stories, which he started writing in 1932 for Weird Tales magazine. Howard wrote Conan as not only the biggest badass there ever was, but as a noble savage of sorts, and a mirror through which not just the double standards and hypocrisy, but also the fleetiness of civilized society was reflected. His philosophies on strength and violence, and experiences growing up in a boomtown with one foot in the modern world and the other firmly planted in the Wild West, all went into his Conan stories. Howard would even describe Conan as an amalgamation of the dominant characteristics of a number of men he had known or otherwise been in contact with. Men who included various prize fighters, gunmen, bootleggers, oil field bullies, gamblers, and honest workmen. With the Conan stories, Howard would also establish the first fully realized fictional world, predating Lord of the Rings.
It does,
the Hyborian Age took place after the sinking of Atlantis, but before the onset of written history. The Conan stories would even share continuity with Howard's earlier stories about King Kull, which took place when Atlantis was still above sea level, meaning that even if they took place thousands of years apart, many of Howard's stories took place within one literary universe. Long before any unified DC or Marvel comic book universe came to be.
Get him off my screen!
Controversies. Here we go.
In the documentary Conan the Barbarian Unchained, director John Milius would describe Howard as a nutcase and as someone who literally believed Conan stood behind him and
Look at this dude! Look how big he is!
Milius is not the only one to believe some variation of this, yet this blatantly false. While calling him nuts is a misrepresentation and pushing it, Howard may have been unusual. That itself is not unusual for creative types. John Milius himself famously served as the inspiration for John Goodman's character in The Big Lebowski.
What a shock.
So he's a blowhard that doesn't know what he's talking about
was his mother.
And fucks everything up.
She was a woman of higher standing who felt she married down when she married Howard's father, the physician, and she apparently had no qualms about letting either father or son know. However, she was the one who instilled the love of reading and writing into Howard, and fully supported his efforts to be a writer. According
this house
to
is
Howard's
preserved, by the way. That's actually his room.
Price Ellis, that alone made him stand out in Crossplanes, as his preoccupation with history and with writing, instead of the price of corn and cotton, was something the rest of the townfolk could not understand. According to Howard biographer Mark Finn, Howard's mother may have installed something else into him too, namely her own depression. By all accounts, she was domineering and sickly and bedridden towards the end. It was her son, Robert E. Howard, and not her physician husband that would be her primary caretaker. When she succumbed on June 11th of 1936, Robert E. Howard ended his own life as well, at the age of just 30. How far Howard could have gone as an author if he had lived on, we will never know. There probably wouldn't have been many more Conan stories though, as he had already left the character behind when he came. Before he was the Kingpin, and after he was Pyle. Vincent D'Onofrio.
No, I know, yeah, you can't.
Yeah, here's Vincent D'Onofrio playing,
the whole wide world. It is well worth
and Renee Zellweger before
Howard's
plastic
life
surgery.
was over, but his literary output, most notably Conan, would find new life outside the pages of pulp magazines.
Extended shelf life.
This might be where he goes.
Following Robert E. Howard's death, the courts gave his father the rights to his estate, meaning his literary output. Howard's agent, Otis Adelbert Klein, continued to serve in that role, so Howard wouldn't be forgotten. Over the next decade, a couple of Howard collections would be published, and the rights to the Howard estate and to Conan would change hands. Conan would make a comeback in 1950 when Gnome Press published Conan the Conqueror, which was a retitled The Hour of the Dragon, the only full-length Conan novel Howard ever wrote. This was sufficiently successful that Gnome Press would continue to publish reprints of Howard's Conan stories. The fifth one, published in 1955, was incidentally titled Conan the Barbarian, the first time that title was ever used. With the latter volumes of the Gnome series, however, came Elsbrag the Camp.
This guy's
he would edit, as in rewrite, Howard's Conan stories, and even rewrite Howard's other stories featuring other characters set in other times into Conan stories and the Hyborian Age. Alongside Swedish Howard fan Björn Nyberg, he would even write the first of many Conan pastiches. That is, brand new Conan stories not at all based on any original story by Howard. The Camp would eventually get control over all the Conan stories, and oversaw yet another round of rewrites for the release of the Lancer editions in the 1960s, which much later would be followed by the Ace editions. These were the paperbacks that featured the artwork of Frank Frazetta. Frazetta's artwork on these covers would set the standard for how Conan would be visually presented forever afterwards. These paperbacks were huge hits, selling millions of copies. Around this time, in the mid to late 60s,
I think it would be. It's all the stuff that was like the written shit from his trunk that you'll never see anywhere else.
All of them directly or indirectly inspired by Conan. The sword and sorcery subgenre of fantasy was firmly established, and Howard was its progenitor. But Conan was about to gain success outside of the paperback market as well.
60-ish books. Okay, so Marvel Comics we don't need to hear. So, let me just do something real quick. Get that. Okay, get us back up. Get you back up, technically. So, the whole thing, or the bigger thing you have to know about Conan itself, the Conan the Barbarian movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger, since we talked about them before anyways, is that they're the ones that are the reason for the big sword and sorcery, or sandal and sorcery movies. Sandal and sword, sometimes called as well. Right?
Sandal and sword?
That's another term for them as well. Sword and sandal, or something like that.
That sounds like Jesus.
It doesn't.
Picked up a sword and fought the devil.
Yep. But yes, the Conan series is the reason why the sword and sorcery movie boom was a big thing in the 80s and the 90s to some extent too, as well. And knockbusters of Conan movies as well.
Knockbusters?
Yeah, there's plenty of knockbusters.
Sure, of course. I've seen them. It's called Call the Conqueror. Oh, Call is so bad.
Well, we'll get to that.
But yes, we have talked about Conan the Barbarian and the Destroyer on the Arnie stream. So we will not necessarily be... We will touch on it here and there, but we will not really be talking about Conan. Even though Conan is... Conan the Barbarian is fantastic film.
Yeah, the original one.
Conan the Destroyer, not so much.
No, it is not.
But I love the original Conan. It's good. Arnold is good in it.
It is technically a very loose adaptation of a lot of Robert E. Howard's stories of Conan, too. It's not specifically based on any single one.
Sure.
Because the bad guy that James Earl Jones plays is actually a guy that's supposed to be like... Yeah.
Thulsa
Doom.
Thulsa Doom?
Yeah, Thulsa Doom. Doom, not Doom.
Doom?
Doom, yes. Thulsa
With
Doom.
an M. Sure.
D-O-O-M. Doom.
Okay.
Thulsa Doom. He is technically in the book originally a guy with an elephant head.
Oh, okay. So he's not a snake.
No.
So why is he a snake in the movie?
Because it's a fucking loose adaptation. They just did whatever they wanted to do with it.
Because J.K. Rowling needed something to rip off of?
Yeah, of course.
I was watching a clip from it, and I was like, this just looks like Chamber of Secrets. What is happening here? J.K. Rowling, what did you do? Thulsa Doom is gay. He was a gay character. J.K. Rowling said so. Conan is gay too.
Yeah, who gives a shit what she says? She's gay. She's a faggot. Burn at the stake. I don't know what to tell you.
I think she's single.
Good. She's a cat lady then. Fuck off.
I don't know. How did we get on J.K. Rowling? Why'd you
Because
bring her
you
up?
brought her up.
I didn't bring her up.
Yes, you did.
But Conan is a great film.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy it. The second one is weird.
Yeah.
It's not that good. It seems like a knockoff of itself.
She's a cat lady in a castle in Scotland, said Sweets.
Is she from, that's Scotland? That's one of the worst places to live in the world. I think I'd rather live in the Congo.
Yep.
But Gene, what else did you watch? We might as well.
Sure. I'll go over some stuff. I put some stuff in as well. Let me just be sure of something. I don't think I put anything for that now. Okay, so I'll talk about that then, and maybe we'll see it later on. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Conquest by our good, friend Mr. Fulci.
Okay, all right. Was it coherent?
No.
No? Tell me what happens in Conquest.
Okay, so Conquest is about, like, this guy that goes to a whole nother world, but he's from far away, and he gets the bow of Cronus or whatever, which gives him magical arrows at a certain point in the film. But he's basically...
Wait, isn't Cronus, like, a time thing?
Yes, Cronus is the god of time. It's Hercules. It's Zeus's father, actually.
So do his arrows do anything with time?
Nope.
Okay, so Cronus is the god of arrows now.
I guess. So he goes to this new world. It's like a world that's all shitty and everything else. It's like prehistoric almost, but humans are there. And there's this woman in a golden mask. She wants this dude dead because she keeps visioning her body dying to him. So she gets all these minions to try to kill him and everything else.
Sure,
they don't do any. He has a partner who basically has like a skeleton nunchuck mace thing. And I forget what that dude's name is.
Skull nunchuck thing?
Yeah, he's got like a skull mace nunchuck.
Okay, so it's like it's a chain. It's a mace with a chain.
It's not, no, except it's made of bone.
Okay, so it's a bone with a chain and then a skull.
It's not a chain, it's like a rope.
Okay. So it's just one though. It's not like...
Yeah, he just has one he beats people with.
Okay.
So yeah, he's like a primitive, but he talks about the whole thing of like he loves animals, he hates people, he's got a lot of animal friends and all this other shit. And
That's it?
No, there's more. It's a lot of things happen in this movie, but I feel like nothing happens at the same time.
Okay, sure, it's a normal Fulci movie.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Better not talk about the curse of Fulci.
I know. So the main thing that happens, I guess you could say, is like our main character gets poisoned at a certain point, and this guy has to go save him with this medical herb, but then he like fights a doppelganger of himself, and it's like one of the minions called like Proteus or whatever the dude's name is. He's like made of stone. Some of the like makeup and costumes in this thing are pretty cool.
Sure.
But others are just like I don't care.
Right, okay.
So yeah, he does that. They basically get split up at a certain point too. He gets kidnapped underground. He's fighting all these like monster men things. And then he gets his head cut off and he's dead.
Boom, dead.
And then he basically except he's dead, but his spirit's still alive. So he basically passes on the bow to the other dude he knew, and that dude basically kills this woman who's worshipped as a god for some reason. I don't know why she just is. So she has, like, behind her golden mask, she has a horrible, like, proto-human face. And she dies, she gets shot with a bow. I shouldn't say she dies, because basically what happens is she turns into, like, a coyote. And she leaves, okay. And she meets up with the other guy, Proteus, or whatever his name is, who's a wolf, who he was before anyways. So I guess they just walk off into the sunset and no longer have whatever power they had over mortal people. And then that's the end of the movie.
Okay. It sounds like a Fulci film.
Uh-huh.
What would you rate it?
That's like a 2.5.
2.5? Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like you had a terrible time watching.
I just got confused more than anything else. I was confused of like what was going on a few points. The fucking dude who plays the main dude in the movie is the same guy who plays the guy at midnight. No, is it at midnight I'll stab you or something? The one movie where he's the conductor dude, the soundtrack guy. That's who that is. It's a actor fucking Fulci shoots before, so that's who I recognize that guy from. Is he's in another one.
Okay, I'm not sure who you're talking about, but
Do you remember the guy who's basically composing the music for somebody? Do you remember that?
Oh, the Giallo film?
Yeah, the Giallo
where
film.
he's got like his piano in his house.
Yes, that's the dude.
Okay,
yeah, he's the main character.
About, yeah.
Yes, that's who that is. That's like, oh, it's this dude. Oh, good to see you in a movie again, I guess. And I think the guy who plays his sidekick is on a lot of Fulci movies as well. I don't remember which ones off the top of my head, but yeah.
Well, Fulci does like to
reuse actors.
Yeah, sure. I mean, a lot of directors do.
I guess the interesting thing about the villain is she's basically topless the entire time. She's got snakes, and she's got like claws covering her vagina.
Is that where the 2.5 came from?
I guess
her being topless.
I guess it's not like they're not spectacular or anything. It's just like okay. Mostly my 2.5 comes from like the monsters and how weird and different they look, and just some of the violence in this is obviously Fulci gore. You got in that too, so.
Okay.
I would not recommend this for people unless you really want to see like Italian schlock fantasy, because that's pretty much what that is.
Yeah, but don't forget the fucking we ripped off them. They didn't.
Yeah.
Rip off
exactly.
Fulci, you son bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 2.5 for Conquest. Don't watch it.
Yeah, don't watch it.
Gene says don't, and I'll take that. I'll take that. I won't watch it.
I know another movie that we're not going to talk about, but I have it on my list anyways, is Red Sonja, because technically that is a Robert E. Howard creation.
But yeah, a lot of people don't like that movie.
Yeah, and it's also the fact because she's based on the Marvel comics they had at the time, too, so it's a lot different. It's about, like, another rendition of her, so it's not really the one that a lot of people like or know about Red Sonja from the literature, so that's why a lot of people hate it.
Gene, breaking news.
Uh-huh.
Red Sonja is now part of the MCU.
I know. Of course. I mean, she technically was for a very long time. She was part of Marvel continuity, but she's not now. She's owned by Dynamite.
She's getting her own standalone.
Well, they have Conan, so I'm surprised he's not fucking part of it yet.
I'm sure they'll do some.
Maybe.
Wait for Phase 12.
Phase 12. Can't they just be bankrupt by then?
I mean, probably. You keep making movies like that, probably.
Yeah, so Red Sonja, it's not really a great adaptation. I just know about it, and it was on my list to mention, so I'm gonna mention it.
What about Sorceress?
So Sorceress, I got clips for that, but let's go. I got talking on the movie first. Yeah, we'll actually see it too. So I'm gonna fucking get us off the screen and go. You can go to the next clip where it's Red Letter Media talking. Get to the part where they're talking about Deathstalker.
Okay, let me give us a second, folks.
The worst here in
mystical thing. I think he was a normal man.
So leave.
Well, like a magic with a staff wizard.
Okay, stop doing that.
Okay.
Well, you have to do this because.
Leave an exclamation point, not a question mark.
Well, if he jumped off of a taller building,
it's coming up.
I see Deathstalker down there.
They were talking about Double Dragon. Now they're going to talk about Deathstalker.
I need another drink. I gotta.
Spinach is supposed to be very good for the.
What is this?
Oh, that was Double Dragon.
Okay.
That was a terrible fucking movie.
That's Double Dragon.
Sure is or was.
A film with two words that start with D.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And our other films, Deathstalker and Dr. Butcher, are also terrible. Jack, tell us all about Deathstalker.
But I gotta disagree.
It's kind of your standard.
You like Deathstalker.
I do like Deathstalker. It's a lot better than I remember it being too. Just because it's a cheesy, schlocky movie. I actually liked it a lot when I was watching it. I was just like, wow, this is better than I remember. There's some good witty lines in it. There's a lot of just, Porky's in it. Obviously, that's a plus, because, seeing Porky.
Sure.
Getting some roles outside of being,
ripping a man's arm off.
Yeah, beating someone with it.
Yeah.
I like how the main character comes from, first, this asshole that's not going to do anything right to actually being a hero. I like how the Wizard Morcar looks, because he's just got that cool tattoo on his side and everything else. I mean, he's a big, weak dude anyways, because basically Deathstalker just goes at him and says, you have nothing. You always had nothing. And basically calls him a weak loser. There's the whole fucking...
It's a Roger Corman movie.
Yes, of course. It was a Roger Corman movie that was because he couldn't do Conan.
Okay. Right, exactly. So he made Deathstalker. Did your headset just die again? I think your headset just died again.
My headset just decided to shut off at the worst time possible. Wonderful. It got you, don't worry. It's just fucking... I couldn't hear you. And I didn't say what I was saying. I was going to say that, yeah, it's the... Deathstalker is basically when Roger Corman was going to get Conan, but he didn't. So he got upset about it and decided to make his own. That's what Deathstalker is.
Sure, he made his own Deathstalker, sure.
He made his own Conan.
He made his own Conan.
Yes.
Yes, called Deathstalker.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 3 of them?
There's actually 5.
There's 5 Deathstalkers?
Yes.
Holy shit.
Mm-hmm. And the one Mystery Science Theater reviewed was Deathstalker 3, which sucks. That one sucks. I mean, but 4 is worse.
I think I don't know if Red Letter Media has made it up to 3, but they've done 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, but this is the first one that they're talking about.
Yeah, and Deathstalker 1 is probably, in my opinion, next. 2's fun. 2 is also fun. It's kind of like tongue-in-cheeky more than 1 is. But I didn't watch 2. I know 2, and I've seen it, and I like it. But it's really tongue-in-cheek, where this one plays it a lot more serious.
Mm-hmm.
But the other one's just it's a parody of fucking Sword and Sorcery movies.
All right. I mean, I've seen I've seen 1 and 2. I think I watched them on my own.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Deathstalker. That sounds cool.
Mm-hmm.
Let me check those out.
Yep. And that guy gets turned from a puppet into a fucking dude.
Yeah.
That happens in the first movie. There's the witch who basically gives him the sword. And there's just all the tits and ass in this fucking movie.
Yes, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of rape.
Yep, there's a lot of that too. A lot of rape.
It's a Roger Corman film, so of course.
I see Porky is posting Deathstalker 2 in our full movies. Thank you, Porky. You're not going to find one. It's I've tried to find it before. It's not on there. It's not on YouTube. It's on Shout Factory. That's where I watched it.
It's such a shame.
Yeah, they have 2 and 1 on fucking Shout Factory. Yeah, I think they even have 3 possibly, but I've got something to show for that later. Do we want to continue with Red Letter Media talking about it because they're just going to say how bad it is? Because I mean I also have good bad.
Well, they're going to go through the film.
Mm-hmm.
So let's.
I mean, I also have I have good bad flicks talking about it too, so I don't know if we want to see his take on it.
Well, his is his the first one or the second one?
It's both. I put the first one in too.
Well, let's watch this one because they're not. They're just going to go through the movie.
Okay.
So some things you'll agree with, some things you won't. I mean, they're going to make it funny. So.
Okay, I'm ready.
You want me to hit play?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I didn't know because you paused it.
I know, I did.
It's fine. Hold on. Sorry, I'm always pacing around, so I got to get back to my computer.
I can do it. Never mind.
Barbarian medieval fantasy, where you have your muscly hero with the big sword fighting the bad guy wizard.
Yep, which is usually what you do.
Only with like 80%, not you wizard, like a magic wizard.
Hey,
that guy's bald.
Like a magic
that guy's bald.
Wizard.
Okay,
who are these two?
Yeah.
Well, you have to do this because the movie
Jack
is
and Josh.
80% rape.
Jack's okay. Jack's the bald guy.
And,
Josh
and
is
for some
Josh is not
reason
really that good.
Everyone in this movie,
they
including
look like
the hero,
faggots I wouldn't listen to at any point, like at all.
Jack is
rape
okay.
Is a
But
pastime. Rape is a reward. Rape is a punishment.
It's the barbarian
So it's
age,
like a
dude.
fraternity.
That's kind of what they
know.
do.
They know.
Are you saying fraternities get raped or do rapes?
They do rape. See, yeah.
Was this a 1950 song?
He drinking
Do
a
rape,
fucking
do
Jones
rape,
soda.
do rape.
Oh, no. Going to the party
It don't mean a thing if you ain't got that rape. Do rape, do rape, do rape, do rape, do rape.
Wow. Wow.
That's why I called him the Big Bopper.
What?
They got off topic.
Porky!
Here you go, Porky. Nobody calls me Porky. He's just hitting that guy.
Oh yeah, the pillows come in, yep.
See, they're having fun watching it.
Fuck movie.
The movie's gone off the rails.
This was Jesus. But Jack, so are you saying that basically rape is just a part of their culture?
Did I just hear the rape song? You did hear the rape song.
Apparently.
So we can't really criticize
Throw
it.
your trigger warnings out, please.
No.
There's a lot of barbarians watching.
So the movie starts with our hero, whose name is in actuality Deathstalker.
Yep.
With your strength and courage, Deathstalker, you can use the power in the sword to get the amulet.
Deathstalker stops.
It's a German name.
It's Jonathan Deathstalker.
That's pretty good. I'm pleasantly surprised by that.
So are most of the women in
Rape
this
was
film.
a 1950s subgenre of music.
Not so pleasant.
So the movie starts with a woman being raped by a bandit. That bandit gets interrupted by a group of goblins who then start raping the woman. This is true.
These are not jokes.
These are not
These are
jokes.
not
They look
jokes.
like they're right out of Troll 2. Like they wandered right off the set. They wanted to feed her something green.
But yeah, that actually made sense that they would look like trolls because the effects were John Carl Buechler, who did Troll. So it's probably just shit he had laying around K&B.
Why do you know this guy's name?
Because I asked Jay.
Why does Jay know this guy? Oh. Now it makes sense.
So the goblins stop the raper from raping the lady, and they start raping the lady, only to...
What is this, Rich Evans' autobiography?
Ooh.
What? Which one is Rich Evans?
I'm the one who's getting raped by my friends.
Are you calling us goblins? How dare you, sir?
They are so drunk right now.
Yeah.
Deathstalker comes in, saves the lady from the goblins and the bandits, only to rape her.
Yep.
What do you want?
So then the Deathstalker meets
That's his reward.
An elderly king.
An army isn't the way. A brave man could get inside one car's castle and kill him.
You need a fool.
No, a hero.
Same thing.
Okay, I got it now.
Sounds better than rape thing.
Because apparently the king was just set up right outside.
I can't. My
waiting
stomach
for
hurts
the
from laughing too
coitus
much at
to be
sweets.
done.
You don't know how long it was before he saw the king. There could have been dozens
Ew, he
of
got
rapes in
goblin
between
sloppy
then.
seconds. So strong.
They measure time and distance in rapes. 6 rapes ago,
In our world, we have racehorses, and theirs, they have rape horses.
Oh, God.
The horses don't rape. They just measure time and distance and rape. It's not our fault that so many bad filmmakers use rape to define a bad guy.
and a good guy in this case.
Apparently.
Just to get tits into the movie.
This is the real problem.
Well, this is above and beyond defining a bad
Bear
guy.
gauge.
Well, beyond that.
Wait,
This is
no, the bad guy in this movie doesn't rape anyone.
That's right.
He lets his new wife get raped, but that's different.
He offers his new wife
Yeah.
for the rape. He's just like, let's all drink and have fun. Here's my wife. Hey,
He has like 30 wives, and they're all like slaves and all that.
Yeah, she's the new wife, who's like princess, whoever the fuck.
Needs to be loosened up a little bit.
Bad guy equal good guy.
No, that's not.
you should.
Huh? That puppet's cool.
Oh, that's great.
The bad guy has a little puppet friend.
Was that ever explained?
No!
He
That's
was
just
feeding
cool.
him fingers and eyeballs.
Yeah, that's just color. It was great.
One thing in the film that didn't want to rape, and we get no information about it. All I want to do is eat little boy's eyeballs.
Well,
Not a
none
little
of the
boy, it
puppets
says
wanna rape,
servant.
because there's also the cave troll.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't rape anybody.
But the cave troll turned into a man who wanted to rape
basically
people.
women throw themselves
No, he turned
at.
into a pedophile because he made Deathstalker turn into a small boy and he was looking up his loincloth.
Oh,
God. He was watching.
Oh my God, he was looking.
Oh yeah.
He was watching that scene.
He fell asleep during it.
And he does fall asleep during it. Yeah.
How lazy were they with that Playboy Playmates costume? They didn't even bother trying.
I mean, you got short tits. Come on.
Over nothing.
Yep.
Oh my God. Oh, we're down.
We're down?
We're down.
Oh. I don't know why. Do we get
copyright content is detected. Material is no longer being streamed. Streams are automatically re-enabled.
Oh, it will enable itself when it stops. So yeah, I guess it can't.
Well, we'll just move on to the next one then.
Yeah. I didn't think Deathstalker would get that.
Too many. I didn't think Deathstalker would get it either. Hopefully they'll let us know when we're back up.
Yeah.
It doesn't say that we've been.
No.
It just says it's been interrupted.
Yeah, I'm waiting. Get even this off the screen too. I'll wait. Let me know. Probably want
to. Do you even want to show the Deathstalker trailer? Okay. Should we even show good bad flicks?
I guess not.
No.
We'll go to the second one. We'll show Deathstalker 2. No, we won't show that. No.
No, not from Shout Factory.
No, just go to the quick. There you go. We gotta tell me when we're back up. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Chat will tell us.
Tell us when we're back up, please.
Stream suspended. It says stream suspended for policy violations.
It said that last time to me too, but that's not.
Yeah.
What it does, because it's still streaming. Because I still have green. I'm still streaming. It still says live.
It's because Shout Factory. It's got to be because Shout Factory.
I guess.
They'll copy. Okay, we're back.
Yeah, we're back. Okay.
All right. Well, now we don't know what we can show and can't show. That we had like 4 or 5 other videos we were going to show.
Mm-hmm.
God, it's so hard doing a stream about movies. I swear to fucking God.
Well, that's why we can't always do a visual element, but we've been doing it for a little while now, and that's what happens.
Yeah, we try.
Yeah.
So, do you want to rate Deathstalker then?
Yeah, I'll. Shout Factory can suck my dick. I will rate Deathstalker a 3.
Okay, that's what I would give it from what I remember. I think it's campy, schlocky, fun. It hasn't, and I'm not even sure, I don't know what just got hit because I'm pretty sure they were talking over most of it.
I guess it was something to do with just the fucking audio detection.
I don't know. I have no fucking clue.
It's not fucking down in their whole channel, so explain that to me.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
But do you want to, it said policy violation. Yes, Sweets, it did. Do you want to do the Deathstalker 2 Good Bad Flicks then?
Let's not. Just because I don't know. We'll just talk about it instead. So Deathstalker 2, I didn't really watch it, but I remember this movie. It's pretty much Deathstalker 2's whole thing is that it is a parody of the original Deathstalker while also having a lot of elements from Deathstalker 1 in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got that one huge woman as a barbarian. She's both big as in tall and big as in huge.
Okay, yeah. I haven't seen Deathstalker 2.
Yeah.
I think I've seen it, maybe once.
Yeah.
But I don't remember much about it.
Yeah, it's pretty entertaining for what it's worth. And I have a scene from something else, and I don't think this will get copyright struck by any means. I don't think it's a policy violation, so we're going to show it. We're going to show the worst fight scene from Deathstalker 3. This is one people remember probably the most. If I fucked the screen up 1 second. People probably remember this one the most because it was on Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Okay.
So I'm going to you can switch to it because we have to go from Deathstalker to Good Bad.
You can only really rate it in rapes, says Sweets.
Yeah. So why don't you show that? Click on that. We can watch that scene.
Is that the one after this?
Yes. Here we are.
What have you done?
Take him.
I know this movie probably doesn't have copyright on it.
Well, I'll watch the. I'll watch
you
the
clever bastard.
Gmail.
So the editor's working with you.
I believe you have something of mine.
Oh, look, he's going to take his bra out through his shirt.
That is Chris below.
Ooh, the bed's all wet.
Lovely paths to ducks.
See, it's not even like got the background.
Deathstalker, no!
That's my pectin!
It's Rudolph's nose.
It's something we should explain at some point.
No, they never do in that film. This film sucks.
I'm not going to touch it.
It looks bad.
Ooh, a little light for a wizard.
That guy he's sword fighting is really trying. He's putting on his all.
The bad guy in the second Deathstalker.
What? Come on, what did you mean by that? Come back.
Wait a minute. Hey, Ted, I think I got your soul. Are you kind of a jerk? Do you have the ability to lie without remorse?
Sounds like you said.
Did you say Octung?
Octung. Look at the sword fighting tonight.
The alternate ending to Ice Pirates.
It's amazing.
You try to stab me? Do I have to do everything?
It was a good idea to film the walkthrough.
Come on, give me that. Don't be a big ass. Come on.
Well, that went nowhere.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, like I seen you coming 20 minutes ago.
Well, this movie made it possible for 2 more actors to put stage fighting on their resume.
Yeah, it did.
This is not acting. It's running and jumping and fighting and humping.
We're still fighting bravely for our vague goal.
Yep,
Been dead for 300 years and I still got it.
Our vague goal.
Yeah.
Never chop at a guy's legs when he's on the stairs. He's going to do that.
Be only
Thanks,
one or
folks.
two.
Please keep dying on me.
Gentlemen, we need to clean the banquet room.
Lock a man and charge him.
Just hold me.
Oh, God.
Trash talking wasn't very good yet. All you could say was,
This is what you expect from the Deathstalker series.
Yeah.
This and Rape.
The new Pope is Og!
Wait for it. That just happened.
Oh, I got an arrow.
He looks like Pluto.
He does.
That's great, but what about the bald guy?
Thank you, random revelers.
Sambo!
That is that guy's name in the movie. It's not Deathstalker. It's Sampo.
I will kill him.
So how is he related to Deathstalker?
I don't know, dude.
It's just now it's just Deathstalker franchise.
Yeah.
Just come and take her. You'll have to take me
His title is
first.
Deathstalker or something.
Tracks the wizard back to the base.
He just jumped.
Yep, both blades good.
Dude, he is acting so hard.
What, are you fighting Liberace?
Is this feeling a little weird to you too?
As we begin the begin.
I always love when fucking Kevin starts singing.
Wow.
No, don't get off my infinity towers.
Fight choreography by Mo Howard.
Oh my god, it's so good.
This random crackhead showed up.
How fucking that guy's got to be like 4'9".
So yeah, next we have the Sorceress trailer. We will watch this. I don't think it's going to cause any problems. But I'll talk about it real quick. So this movie, Sorceresses.
I just have to mute for a second. Keep talking.
Okay.
I can hear you.
All right. So Sorceresses, chat, is the last movie of a director known as Jack Hill. Jack Hill's whole fucking headset. Jack Hill's whole thing, I gotta unplug this, it's gonna fucking beep at me, I'm sure. But Jack Hill's whole thing is that he made a bunch of exploitation movies. You probably heard of a few of them, like Foxy Brown, the original one, before Quentin Tarantino did the thing. You probably also heard of Wasp Woman. Yeah, stuff like that. He actually did those movies. This was his last exploitation movie. It is a story about two twin sorceresses, quote, that will be warriors to fight against this dude that's going to summon a horrible, horrible demon by sacrificing her, so he'll rule the world. So I just want to show you what the what the trailer looks like. You see how good it is. This movie I would recommend, by the way, with how just so good it's bad movies. This is a Mexican-American production. This was the guy's last movie.
Back.
Welcome back. Look, zombies. Those are the gods, by the way. That's their dad. These two are twins.
Magical women warriors.
These two are twin actresses in real life.
Innocent twins seek revenge against the sorcerer and discover one must die.
Yep, we just grabbed that arrow.
Just snatched it right out of the air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's one of the gods. There we go. Yep. Oh, you saw the ending. By the way, that happens. That's the ending.
Next to doubt, women are mighty. Says strong.
I don't know. There's Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah, she's great.
So yeah, we'll get to this in a moment, maybe. I don't know. So yeah, the whole stuff with the Sorcerer series is it's basically just those two chicks. You see their tits sometimes. Sometimes you see a lot of ass in this movie. And it's pretty much a cheesy exploitation movie. I would recommend it, though. It's kind of just fun to watch. Just because how random and weird things are, how bad the acting is, and everything else. It's just like, yeah, you need to watch this movie. If you like cheesy, schlocky action movies, yeah, you'll like this movie. I rated it a 3.
Or if you're a fan of, like, Jack Hill.
Yeah, if you like Jack Hill stuff, too. If you want to see movies that he made, yeah. This is his last movie. Watch it.
Some exploitation type shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to show this trailers of the 80s thing.
I don't know either.
It's been a rough night.
I mean, it got one copyright ID thing. It's from fucking... Because of Red Letter Media's using Shout Factory's footage, I guess. I don't know.
I guess. I have no idea. I would think... Well, yeah.
How did they not strike Red Letter Media, then?
We've talked about this before. We watching things that are on
the policy
YouTube.
Violation was because you showed Porky. I mean, obviously.
Oh no, of course. Porky, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, we might skip this one too. I don't know. Well, maybe we'll skip around in it to show some. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, we can do whatever you want.
All right. We'll show it in a minute. But you're going to talk about a movie you watch now, because I've been talking about what I've been watching. You're going to talk about Cole, Jenova, so get to talking about Cole.
Cole has Kevin Sorbo. Porky said get dabbed on.
Yep.
Call the Conqueror has Kevin Sorbo in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's from 1997. So I don't know when Hercules started.
Oh, by the way, I was going to say, too, for the Deathstalker series overall, that's pretty... Some of them are decent. Like, the first 2 films are decent, then everything else falls downhill. Deathstalker 2, to actually rate it from remembering how bad that movie is, I'd probably give it a 2.
2? Okay.
Yeah, it's not even like... It's good to watch... If you watch the Mystery Science Theater version, it's a 3, but if you're watching it on its own, it's fucking 2. It's bad.
I don't remember enough about it to rate it, so...
Yeah.
But Call starts with Kevin Sorbo fighting some guys,
mm-hmm.
and then another guy shows up and fights him. And Kevin Sorbo has an axe,
mm-hmm.
like a battle axe.
Yep.
And the guy is like a nobleman, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes Cole's axe and throws it in the water and tells him that's for chopping wood. That's what slaves use to chop wood. You don't use that. We're gonna fight with these swords that are on fire.
Of course.
So they fight with the fire swords, and Call gets beat by that guy.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually they end up going back, right? Because the noble, like I guess Call is trying to join this guy's army or something like that, but he can't because he's not of noble blood.
Yeah.
And then this messenger shows up and is like, "There's a problem at the king is dead and everybody's fighting each other. You've got to come back." And like Kevin Sorbo gives this little quip like, "Noble blood, huh?" And so they ride over to this fucking kingdom. Now there's some witch who ruled before this that somebody eventually killed.
Yeah.
I think her name is Arcanon or something like that.
Yeah.
She's played by Tia Carrera. Yeah. In this movie, it's awful.
I imagine it is, yeah.
Oh, dude, this movie is so bad. Like, the best thing about this movie is that it moves at like a good
decent pace, yeah.
So you're never like stuck in one spot for too long, and there's like action, but it's just a terrible film. So they finally get to the kingdom, the castle where the king has died.
Yeah.
And two of these, this guy is dying or something like that, and he's got the crown.
Yep.
And then this one guy comes in from him, he goes, "It's my crown." And then the nobleman that was fighting Call in the beginning is like, "No, it's my crown." And then the guy who's dying, who apparently is the heir to the throne, he gives the crown to Call and tells Call he's the king. So Call's the king now.
Okay.
Just within a minute, he's the king.
Of course, King Cole.
Yes, so he is the king now. And he starts to they're like, "Here are your concubines," you know. Oh, and they have this big like Egyptian pharaoh thing, like theme going on, like a lot of their like wardrobe and a lot of the crowns they wear.
Yeah, even though it's supposed to be like Atlantis, right?
Well, Call is Atlantean.
Okay.
He says that, and he says his blood is red like any man or something like that.
Yeah.
He has a thing between the noblemen that he fights. I can't remember his name. We'll call him Mark.
Yeah.
So Mark, who's like, he's not the main villain, but he's one of the bad guys in the thing. But Mark is like, he pretends that he's with Call. He's like, "Okay, well, he's the king now, so we've got to bow to the king." So everybody bows to the king. Then they're showing Call his concubines.
Yep.
And there's one of them that steps out. We'll call her Becky. And Becky is like, she is a slave. They're all slaves, obviously. But she's also like a fortune teller. So she shows up while Call's in the hot tub in the sauna.
Yeah.
And she starts to like read his fortune and shit like that.
Of course.
And his whole fortune is like he will go on an adventure, and he will find his kingdom in a kiss. You know.
Okay.
And then he gets into it with the concubine lady. He gets into it with Becky. And she's like, "I'm a slave, so if you're going to have your way with me, I will pretend as much as I can, but do not mistake that for actual affection."
Yeah.
You know. But eventually he has to go somewhere because there's the wizard that was not a wizard. I guess he's like a shaman because he looks Samoan or native or something like that. I don't know. But he was worshiping Varshush or something like that, who is like the ice breath or something. He's the one that killed Arcanon, the fire queen.
Okay.
It's so confusing. But he frees the guy and says that people, now that he's king, people are allowed to worship whoever they want to worship. And that's fine. They let them worship whatever god they want to worship. It doesn't matter. And this allows the sort of like the wizard that's behind that's trying to bring Arcanon back to life. It allows him to do what he needs to do to bring her back to life.
Okay.
So eventually he brings her back to life. She's Tia Carrera now.
Okay.
And now there's a ceremony where Call has got to pick wives. He's got to pick a wife for himself, and all these different villages have showed up with their prize women, to try and marry into the king's graces.
Yeah.
And right when he gets to Tia Carrera, she like whispers a little spell on him, and he falls right to her, and that's his queen. But Becky, yes, but Becky is like, nah, bitch. That's bad. That's a bad chick. And he's like, no, get off me. You don't touch me. Oh, I should mention this. Cole, more than once in this movie, bows to women. He's the king and they bow to him. And he bows to them and goes, no, men should bow to women.
Ooh.
It's oh, dude, it's so bad. It's so bad. So then Tia Carrera and Cole, they get married.
Mm-hmm.
And they go to bed with each other, and Cole sort of like she poisons him. She poisons his wine. Or no, she doesn't poison his wine. She sucks the breath out of his body.
Okay.
So it seems like he's dead. So like that eventually he gets like sent off, and she blames it on Becky.
Okay.
Because Becky had actually scratched him when she was trying to stop him from going off with Tia Carrera.
I see.
And a bunch of them, him and the Becky, Cole, and the shaman guy, they end up on a pirate boat because apparently Cole was a pirate at some point.
Yeah.
They always bring in this pirate shit. And they take over the boat, and they throw all the bad pirates off. There's some shit that goes on over there. Who knows what it is, really? But they're looking for the breath of Vashur, which is what you need to put out the holy fire, which is Arcanon, which is Tia Carrera's witch character. So, something's playing.
Oh, is it? Yeah, I know. I was playing it to just get ahead of the Arnie one.
So, Call says you can't.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you finish playing that.
No, I'm listening to you, dude, while playing it, so it's ahead. So when we actually show the clips, it's not showing Conan. That's the whole point of why I was doing that.
Okay.
That's not showing on screen. That's why I'm not showing it on screen.
Oh, I can hear it in my ear.
That's weird. I have it muted. Yeah, okay, if you can hear it, then I'm not going to do anything with it.
Yeah. So eventually they find this like ice cavern or whatever it is.
No, you can't hear it, Jay. He can hear it because he has it on his volume is up. I turned it down on mine.
I don't know why I can hear it, but I can hear it. So.
Yeah. Apparently Watch Together does that where your volume will still be up even though mine has no volume.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. So they find this ice cave.
Mm-hmm.
Which has the breath of Valal or whatever it is in it, and they go there, they get it. Apparently, it has to go into Becky. Becky's the one who has it, and then she is able to put out fire. Right, she's able to like stand in flame, and the flame goes out because she has this power.
Yeah.
Now, Mark from earlier, what we find out is Mark and Tia Carrera have a little deal going on where he helped her rise back from the grave so he could get the throne because he wants the throne. He thinks he's the rightful heir to the throne.
Okay.
But then she sort of like, backstabs him.
As they do.
It's a double cross, shit like that. But Mark grabs Becky and takes her back to the kingdom.
Yeah.
Right. And Call is coming after her with his now, his pirate boat that he's got now with all these people.
Of course.
And shit like that. And he shows up and there's a lot of fighting that goes on. It's kind of like Deathstalker fighting.
Okay.
It's very much like that. Kevin Sorbo's not the best fight choreographed person. But, eventually she tries to use the breath to put out the fire, but she can't do it. Only Kevin Sorbo can do it, so she gives him the fire by kissing him.
Okay.
And while that's going on, Tia Carrera is now in the middle of the room.
But what happened to Men Must Bow?
Who?
What happened to men must bow to women. He obviously has to do it.
He does that. He does that again later.
I know, of course.
But so Tia Carrera is now on fire in the middle. It's called Holy Fire.
Okay.
So she's on fire in the middle of the room, and she says, "Let me show you my true form," and she turns into this like winged demon thing.
Okay.
And she doesn't know that Kevin Sorbo has the fire breath.
Mm-hmm.
He's been chewing 5 gum,
okay.
basically.
All right.
it's kind of like that. So then, she's it's this demon, but it's got Tia Carrera's voice, and she's and the demon's like, "Kiss me, husband, kiss me," and he's like, "Okay," and he just starts kissing this demon, and it just completely destroys the demon.
Sucked up the fire.
That's what it's like to chew 5 gum.
Yeah,
just sucks up all the fire. Everything's great. Him and Becky are now together. He bows to Becky.
Of course he
kneels. He kneels to Becky.
Mm-hmm.
And then he frees all the slaves.
Okay.
In the kingdom.
I didn't know his name was Abe Lincoln.
Oh, yeah. It's a shame he didn't send him back on a boat. But he frees all the slaves in the kingdom, and now he is King Call. Mark is dead. There was like a wizard in there too that was like behind the thing. He's dead.
All right, that sounds great.
It's dude. It's so awful. It's such a terrible fucking movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I give it a 2.5.
Oh, okay, that seems fair.
It's Tia Carrera is. How did she get famous?
I don't know.
Wasn't she like a porn star or something?
Maybe.
Maybe, I don't know, but she can't act for shit. I don't know who said let's give Kevin Sorbo a movie.
Because they shouldn't have.
No, and now the only thing Kevin Sorbo plays in movies is atheists.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he plays in all the God's Not Dead movies.
Yeah, that's what's funny too, because he's actually he's very libertarian, and he actually is very Christian too.
Yeah, he's very Christian. Now, I was never a fan of like Hercules or Xena, so I don't know how those movies are. And didn't he do another movie called like Andromeda?
Maybe.
Something? Or I'm not a movie, but a television show. Like after Hercules, I think he tried to go space.
Yeah, possibly.
So he did Andromeda. But Call the Conqueror is it's like, I get it, right? It's a Robert E. Howard adaptation. So they're like, well, we can't make Conan, so let's make Call the Conqueror, right?
Yeah, even though it's none of that's based on Call at all, it just uses the name.
None of it is. No, they're just using the name exactly.
Yep.
And they say he's Atlantean. And I don't know if Call is
supposed to be, yes. He's the king of Atlantis.
Okay.
Yep.
But they make fun of him for being Atlantean. Apparently, in this movie, Atlanteans are seen as like weak.
Okay.
They're not like anything that you should care about. Like, you shouldn't be frightened of them. You shouldn't respect them. Stuff like that, because everybody makes fun of him.
Mm-hmm.
And he finally gets his axe back.
Oh boy.
Oh, that's how he kills Mark. Mark shows up and grabs Becky and holds her hostage. Mm-hmm. And Kevin Sorbo grabs his axe, and he doesn't tell her to duck or anything. He just swings it right at her head. Yeah. And right as he swings it, she ducks, and he hits him in the chest and kills Mark.
What a great hero.
He was like, I don't care. I'll risk it. I'm the king. If I get this shot, I'm the king, and I can have any bitch I want, which I will kneel before.
Of course.
And then they're sort of married, you know. He's like, and they're like, you can't marry her. She's a whore. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
Don't you talk about her like that? We will give birth to a supreme being that will fix the world. It's kind of Coffin Joe-ish.
Of course.
It gets like that at the end, yeah. So, not a great movie, but it, like I said, it moves along.
Yep.
It moves along to the next scene. We're at the next scene now. It's action. There's some, the pirate king is like, or the guy who's a part of the boat, the pirate guy he's that guy from Independence Day and Mrs. Doubtfire who's got like that raspy, he's like a Jew with that raspy voice.
I don't know.
He's like, I gotta call my lawyer.
Yeah, I get you.
Matchmaker. He's the guy who turns Robert Williams into a woman.
Right.
So, oh yeah, and that's the other thing. When they're on the pirate boat, which I thought was, I thought it was a little clever,
Mhm.
little clever,
A little.
But like the pirate is like getting ready to feed all them, and he goes to feed Call and the shaman first,
Mhm.
and the Call stops the shaman from eating. He's like, "Don't eat before the pirate king." I can't remember what his name is.
Yeah,
but
it's probably
and he goes,
it actually probably is a Robert
"Why?"
Howard character, but I don't know.
He's like, he's like, "You think I would poison you?" And he goes, "It's not It's not poisoned." He goes, "Okay." So the king eats and drinks before all of them,
Mhm.
right? And then they show him, and he's drunk, and he passes out. When they wake up, Kevin Sorbo and the shaman are in chains,
Mhm.
right? And he goes, "I told you it wasn't poisoned, but it was drugged."
Yeah.
So he didn't poison him to kill him; he just drugged him to get him to pass out. But he also drank and ate the same shit.
Yep.
So
I guess he passed out too at some point.
Oh, he does. They show him passing out. He's like on his like pirate throne or whatever, and he stands up to do something and just falls flat on his face. The whole thing on the pirate boat is actually pretty fun.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with any of that stuff.
Okay.
Yes, Andromeda. Okay, thank you, Shrug. The only thing I remember about Call is that they tried to have a metal soundtrack. Oh yeah, that's the other thing, Shrug. Everything is like metal. Like anytime like a fight starts or something, it's like fucking like metal music kicks in, like 90s metal music.
Of course.
So it just kicks in. You're trying to do it, and it's sort of jarring a little bit. Like I didn't expect much from Call, because everything I looked up was like why I love this terrible movie.
Yeah, of course.
A lot of people talking like that, and I don't recommend watching it, but it's just a no-brainer film.
Yeah.
You just if you need background noise and you feel like watching Kevin Sorbo pretend he's Conan, then fucking put it on. I think did they make a second one?
They may have. Yeah.
No, or am I thinking of Crawl?
You're thinking of Krull, probably. Which Strog mentioned earlier, said forget about Krull, talk about Krull. Krull is indeed and also a sword and sorcery movie as well.
I did not. I was going to watch Krull, but I did not get a chance to watch it.
Yeah, I know about it. I've seen it like once or twice, but I don't remember enough off the top of my head.
Christopher Lambert, isn't it?
I believe so, yeah.
As Krull?
I think so, yeah.
So, the guy who's blind. We don't know it, but he's also in Highlander.
Highlander itself is also technically a sword and sorcery.
Yes, yeah.
The Highlander series itself.
The
quickening sucks. The quickening sucks. Let's be honest.
The quickening. Oh, sure. Well, I was never into the whole Highlander fandom. I know Highlander is pretty big, but I think it's bigger with like sword collectors.
Yeah.
I think because that's what I always remember about Highlanders. They were always selling you swords.
Yep.
Like if I rented one of the movies, there was always a commercial before it, like, now buy the Highlander sword.
Yep.
Like, and all this shit. And anytime you watch remember those guys that used to like sell knives and swords on television, there's always a Highlander special going on.
The interesting thing about it is, though, despite the fact that the Highlander thing basically kind of ends with the first one, I mean, there's the second one too, where the second one doesn't matter. The idea of it is what spawned off like video games, fucking comic books, fucking an anime at one point too. There's a Highlander anime, believe it or not.
Oh, that sounds like it would actually be kind of cool.
Yeah.
There's some parts of Highlander that I like, and it's sword and sorcery, so we might as well discuss it just a bit. But there are some things I like about Highlander. There are other things I don't like. I know they tried to connect, or they somehow did connect the television show and the movies.
Yeah, they tried to, yeah.
I don't know if they're both McLeods.
They're supposed to be, yeah, I believe.
Are they supposed to both be McLeods?
I think they're supposed to both be McLeod.
Oh, they're the same McLeod.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Possible. I don't remember.
This
is what happens when you don't know enough about a series.
I don't have a problem with the first Highlander. Is the first Highlander the one that's got Brian Thompson in it?
I believe so, yeah.
I can't remember his
Korgoth
name.
Or whatever his name is.
He's some Korgoth the Barbarian. Have you ever seen that show?
That is a good show, yeah.
They only had like one episode on Adult Swim, but
it
was so funny.
And you know who voiced Korgoth? Dietrich
Dietrich
Banter, yeah.
Dietrich Bader, yeah. Yeah, you can hear it in his voice,
Of
too.
course,
It's so, dude, Korg the Barbarian. I wish we could watch it. We probably can't,
No.
but it's a fantastic little fucking, like, 20-minute whatever they did with
it was a 20-minute small thing.
It's a shame that they didn't, like...
Make a series out of it, yeah.
Make a series out of it, because it was so fun. Dude, when he's, like, smearing people full of fucking, like, giant pigeon shit.
Yep.
All that shit is so funny. But yeah, I was thinking about it, like... When I was young, Highlander was the big fandom. It wasn't even Star Wars. It was Highlander.
It's because they made the meme out of it, like wanting to rule them all. Only one lives. You're immortal till you die. There can only be one.
Yes, and there's always another one.
Yeah,
there's always another Highlander.
I'll have the ultimate power. Nope, you won't, because there's another Highlander you didn't know about that you didn't kill.
And the thing is, once you do kill them all, you die.
Yeah,
that's... like you become mortal again or whatever.
Something like that.
And then you just age and die.
Yeah, you just wither away.
Like,
so what's the fucking point? Do you just not want to be immortal anymore, I guess?
I guess I think that's the whole point. It's sort of like vampire thing where like
it's a curse.
It's like a curse to live forever.
Mm-hmm.
I see when it comes to like things like that, I always think like, okay, so when the Earth like just explodes, are you still alive if you don't get decapitated? Like, what happens? Are you just floating in space as a Highlander?
I am Space Highlander. I wait for the other Earth that will eventually get made, or maybe I'll go to Mars. I'll be the Mars Highlander.
Spacelander.
Spacelander, yeah. No, there's.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say there's just like endless possibilities with that because all the worlds eventually die. It's like, oh, I'll be Black Hole Lander.
Yeah, because is it like 2 or 3 where he has flashbacks of the past, but he's really in the future? Like
it's the second one. It's the quickening. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, is that the quickening?
Yeah, that's the quickening.
The quickening. What a name. What a name for a sequel.
The quickening.
And now even that gets memed.
Yeah, that
gets
memed
because people
a lot.
just add inning onto the end of things now.
The quickening.
Is that the one that has Sean Connery?
He's in it. Yeah, he's in the first one too.
First one too? Okay, yeah. He's in the first one too.
He's his mentor.
Okay, is he a Highlander?
Yeah, he is.
Okay, I just remember like Brian Thompson looking badass in that fucking first
one, yeah.
He looks so mean in that movie. I'm like, I would not fuck with that dude.
No.
Okay. Highlander.
I have a few more series like we can talk about real quick before we watch some trailers or one of these things might pop up. Ator is a series that's basically another Conan-styled ripoff.
Ator?
Yeah, the Ator series. You ever heard of that?
No, I've never heard of that.
There can only be alternative dimension landers, as Zach.
Clancy Brown is the bad guy. Thank you,
that's right. Clancy Brown is.
That's right, Clancy Brown.
Yeah.
And he looks badass in that movie. It's Clancy Brown. Thank you.
Yes.
Everybody knows where he's from.
Where?
Ohio.
Of course.
I love Clancy Brown. He's a great actor. He's a good voice actor.
Yep.
He's great in Pet Sematary 2. It's the best part.
Porky likes Ator. He knows what I'm talking about. The Ator.
Okay, I never heard of this. Tell me about it.
It is an Italian ripoff series of Conan, where the guy who basically plays Ator is in like only 2 of the movies.
Okay.
And they get somebody else for like the other 2, and then there's like unofficial sequels to Ator where the guy actually appeared again and other stuff. And there's an Ator like 4 or 5. Yeah, it's a knockoff series. It's kind of interesting. You get one of the fucking troll masks from Goblins in it.
But I was told that we rip off the Italians.
Well, they like to lie, don't they? You should know. You're Italian. You know, right?
Sure, yeah. Italians will tell you everything's okay and then hit you with a baseball bat when you turn your back.
Yep.
Sure.
So that's pretty much, we're not going to go into huge depths of Ator. I was going to mention that Don Cascarelli's The Beastmaster series is technically also Sword and Sorcery.
There's only one thing you need to know about Beastmaster series, and that's that they had to kill the fucking tiger.
Yes, it did.
So, fuck them.
Yeah.
Oh, but I do love the ferrets in that movie.
Yep.
I think they're the best part of the Beastmaster movies.
I think it was actually not the first one, it was the second one where Don Coscarelli didn't even direct it or do anything with it, that they actually killed the fucking tiger because they used the paint. Because I think it was fake in the first one. Like, it's just something they put on.
From what I remember, I watched a Decker Shadow review. He said that black tiger in is the one that died.
Oh, was it? Oh,
yeah, he died 2 years later from a skin disease that he caught from the toxic fucking dye.
Yeah, okay.
His name is Salton.
Salton, yeah, poor Salton. So there's that. There's those movies. Unfortunate that a tiger died for fucking Beastmaster.
Yeah, it's fucking...
Yeah, the Beastmaster actor looks like Kevin Bacon. Yeah, he kind of does.
Yeah. Yeah, he kind of does. Kevin Bacon sighting.
Mm-hmm. Next on the Mention Lich is... Mention Lich.
We're lynching.
We're lynching the movies, yeah. Dragonheart. That's the one where Sean Connery is the voice of a dragon, and he basically gives a guy magical powers for his fucking, like, touching his dragon heart that he has exposed or whatever.
Okay.
So he's able to talk to the dragon, where others can't. He's the last dragon as well. I think it was the basis for those fucking Aragon books, or whatever they're called, the dragon books, where, like, dragon tamer kind of shit.
Yeah, I know eventually they made more Aragon books. But is that supposed to be an Aragon?
I don't know.
I remember when that movie came out, they hyped it up, and then...
Yeah, it sucked.
Nobody really talked about it afterwards.
Yeah. Dragonheart was good. I remember that movie, especially because, again, Sean Connery voices the fucking dragon. And I think another dragon might be in it, like an undead dragon or something. I don't remember. It's interesting. I remember it being kind of cool. It's a sword and sorcery
Isn't it
film.
like dragons are almost extinct?
He's the last dragon.
He's the last dragon. Okay.
Yeah, so the other dragons are dead, apparently. Besides, like, some undead thing they use that's not a dragon. Maybe it's a wyvern or something. I don't know.
Beastmaster is a great movie. Porky, get out. Beastmaster has its moments.
Yes. Next on the list is the original Lord of the Rings in 1978. The animated one.
Okay, that's animated?
Yes, it is animated.
I thought they only animated The Hobbit.
Nope, they animated the whole Lord of the Rings thing.
I never saw that.
Yeah,
I only seen the movies.
I know. You only see new movies?
No, I've only seen the Peter Jackson.
The Peter Jackson ones. Yeah, the original. It's actually more faithful to the book, a lot more than the fucking Peter Jackson ones are.
Okay.
Because the fucking Witch King is invisible, like he's supposed to be in the fucking.
Sure.
But yeah, that's a sword and sorcery film. Heavy Metal, you know that film, right?
Yes, I know Heavy Metal.
Yeah, that's a sword and sorcery film.
Don't they have like a Heavy Metal magazine now?
Yeah, I mean that's what that's based off of is Heavy Metal magazine. That movie was based off of that. Yeah. Here's one that I'm sure you know of, and I like this film a lot. It's The Black Cauldron.
Heard of it.
I've seen it. It's pretty good. It's got a undead fucking lich as its main villain, the Lich King.
Is it puppets?
No, it's not puppets. It's animation.
Okay. It's animation. Okay.
Yeah, you're probably thinking of the Dark Crystal.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Black Cauldron, Dark Crystal. What can I say? Black Cauldron. I'm struggling to remember anything about it. I don't think I've ever seen it.
Yeah, it's pretty much about a whole cauldron that controls all of life and undeath. So it's like a cursed cauldron. This fucking undead like fucking king's trying to get, so he can turn the whole world into undeath and kill everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking creepy. Sorry, not the Lich King. He is called the Horned King because he's got fucking horns.
Is it supposed to be it's supposed to be like a kids movie?
It's supposed to be, but holy shit, is it creepy?
But it's traumatizing for a kids film.
Yeah, it's good. I love this fucking film. It was one of my favorite kids films, even though it gave me nightmares. There's this film just because of how this name of this one was. I added it to the list. It's called Hawk the Slayer.
Hawk the Slayer?
Yep.
Okay.
I have nothing know about it.
Not our Hawk. Not the
I know.
Hawk
That's exactly why I put the name in, because I just thought, oh, hey, Hawk, you're in a movie?
Hawk's in a movie.
He is the Slayer, apparently.
He's the Slayer. Okay.
Clash of the Titans, the original one, not the remake.
Sure, that's a Ray Harryhausen.
Yes, that is technically a sword and sorcery film. Dragon Slayer, that's a Charles Band movie. That's also a sword and sorcery film. That's the one where it's the computer, I think, or is that a different one I'm thinking of? I don't remember off the top of my head, but I know this is a Charles Band film.
Okay.
There's The Sword and the Sorcerer. Porky posted that in full movies. I have never seen it. I don't remember. I think it's a cheesy romp of a film.
You know, Sword and the Sorcerer sounds so familiar.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've seen it, or at least know what it's supposed to be, but I just can't picture it in my head.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head either. Fire and Ice is a technically one that was made in like the 80s, I believe. So all these films, by the way, like all the ones I'm listing are ones from the 80s that came after Conan, because Conan started this whole thing with these movies.
Right, yeah.
So Fire and Ice, I think it's swashbuckling kind of movie like that. Sword of the Barbarian. You ever heard of that one?
No. Never heard of that
Me either. I just kind of put it on the list because it was one that was listed. This one's interesting because I didn't think I was going to see one of these here. It's called The Devil's Sword.
Okay.
It's an Indonesian sword and sorcery film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
they dipped their toes in.
I guess they did, yeah. Here's one on Shout Factory I saw as well called The Warrior and the Sorceress. You ever heard of that one?
No.
I had no idea.
I'm actually not like a big fan of sword and sorcery. I don't watch too many of them.
Well, now you will be.
Now I am, yes. I mean, there are ones that I like. It's just not a genre I gravitate towards.
Yeah, I understand. And I don't really that much either. I mean, I kind of watched some growing up, but not enough, I don't think.
David Carradine is in The Warrior and the Sorcerer.
Yeah, he is. Yep.
Sorceress.
So he's going to asphyxiate himself in the movie. You got it. Barbarian Queen is another one. I think there's a lot of tits and ass in that movie.
Probably. I'm sure there's a lot of tits and ass in a lot of these movies.
Yeah, Amazon. That's another one that's got a lot of tits and ass in it. Lady Hawk, which Zach mentioned earlier.
Never heard of it.
I think I've seen it once or twice, maybe, but I don't really recall it too well. This movie.
Is she related to the Hawk the Slayer?
Maybe.
Okay.
Legend. That's the movie with Tim Curry. Where he's the devil.
Tim Curry's the devil.
Yeah, but that is technically a sword and sorcery film. Wizards of Lost Kingdom is also a Shout Factory film where it's kind of iconic because I think a guy is like at one point riding like a manticore in it with a lance. It's like on the fucking poster.
Is it a real manticore?
It's a fake. I mean, it's obviously fake.
I mean, not a real manticore, but like, does it actually?
The thing, yeah, it does. Yes.
Okay.
Here's a movie I'm sure you know of.
Well, don't be so sure.
Masters of the Universe.
Oh yeah.
Of course, because it's He-Man. Yeah, because He-Man.
Yeah, Dolph Lundgren's Masters of the Universe. Sure. Yep. I actually got that one confused with Beastmaster for a long time.
I did too. Yeah.
They always seemed very similar. But doesn't he come to the future?
Yeah, he does.
Isn't he like in like modern time?
Yeah, he's in modern LA. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's the same. Everything's the same as it was in barbarian times.
Yeah. Quest of the Delta Knights. You ever heard of that one?
Mystery Science Theater has riffed that one before.
Yeah, they have. So that's another sword and sorcery. You ever heard of this one? I don't think you have, actually. It's called Hexer.
No.
It is a Witcher adaptation.
Oh, okay. From when?
It is from like I think early 2000s.
Okay, no, I've never heard of that. When you said Hexer, I immediately thought Jonah Hex.
Yeah. But no.
So no, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it was one that they did for it was a very small it wasn't small, but it was like almost a like miniseries this kind of size, but I don't think they made it into they clipped into a movie.
Right, okay.
And the last one I have to mention before you can talk about another film is Ronald the Barbarian. What that is basically an adult animated comedy barbarian sword and sorcery film.
Okay, what's it called?
Ronald the Barbarian.
Ronald.
Yep.
Okay, so it's an adult comedy?
Adult animated, so it's like claymation animation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Did you want to talk about?
I've only heard of like 2 of those movies.
Yeah, it's okay.
I mean, I always knew that there was an abundance of
sword and sorcery. Yeah.
Because I mean, after the success of Conan,
yeah, of course, yeah,
you're going to get that type of thing.
Yeah. So
but like I just don't know any of them.
Don't worry. That's how I kind of fell on the Kung Fu stream a little bit.
Sure. Oh, no, it's fine.
So why don't you mention the movie that you want to talk about too that I didn't list off, the 13 Warriors or whatever.
The 13th Warrior.
13th Warrior. Yes, go ahead and talk about that.
By John McTiernan.
Yep.
Who I believe did Die Hard. Now, the 13th Warrior is considered one of the biggest box office bombs in history.
Yep.
It lost like $129 million. But it's not a bomb. It's a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's an underrated movie, highly underrated for a film.
Yep.
Now, you do have to deal with Antonio Banderas playing an Arab.
Mm-hmm.
And Antonio Banderas still has his fucking
Mexican accent.
Yeah, he's still got his Spanish accent, but they're trying to play him off as an Arab, which, I mean, in today's day where we you have to have all this representation, you would think people would find it, I don't know, what do you call that when you trade one brown person for another brown person?
Mud washing?
I thought that's what you did to white people. But when you
slinging?
There you go, dirt slinging. So they dirt slinged it. Instead of getting an actual Arab, they got a Spanish guy to play. And I think this was at a time when Antonio Banderas was big. So that's probably why they got him.
Probably. Yeah.
He doesn't even really look like an Arab either. He looks Spanish. He doesn't look like an Arab. They try to make him look like a Zeke or all that. But
a sheik? Or do you mean a sheik?
A sheik? Is that what he's called? Iron Sheik?
Iron Sheik.
Yeah, he looks like a sheik, not a Zeke. Those are different things. But he still brown, but different. So he's got like this thing. So what it is that Antonio Banderas' character, we're just gonna call him Eben for now. Eben falls in love with a powerful man's wife. And they sort of like, there's a little bit of cheating going on. So that guy complains to the king or the Ayatollah or whatever you want to call him. He complains. And so they take Eben and they turn him into like an ambassador or an emissary. And they just send him far away so that he's not around anymore.
So there'd be no whoop whoop bang bang going on, right?
Right. None of that's going on.
Yep.
So then they, but he does have like an Arab guy with him who's like a translator.
Okay.
And what they do is they end up going to see, they end up like in the north, like with the Norsemen and the Vikings.
So Norway, right?
I
don't
know if it's exactly Norway. It's
Finland?
Somewhere in Scandinavia. It's somewhere in there. I don't even think they tell you where.
Okay.
But you do get a group of like they're somewhere, and you do get a group of like Vikings, or whatever. I think they might call them Tartars or something.
Oh right, there's also, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but there's also the Dungeons and Dragons movie that was done in 2000.
Oh, that movie!
Yeah.
Let me tell you, before we get back to 13th Warrior, that movie is fucking. It's so bad. Who is it? Marlon? Is it Marlon Wayans?
I think so.
Is it Marlon Wayans who's in that movie with a bunch of other people? Jeremy Irons is in that film. And he could give a shit less. He's like, I got tax evasion bills to pay. I ain't got time for this. Dungeons and Dragons isn't even really like a good bad movie.
Yep.
It's only fun to watch at parts.
Yeah.
But most of it is boring as fuck. Holy shit, dude. That has to be a bigger bomb than fucking 13th Warrior. And deservedly so. 13th Warrior does not deserve to bomb. 13th Warrior is fucking awesome.
Well, obviously it had to bomb because audiences didn't really want to receive it. Jenova, I thought you knew that, you nerd.
I guess so. It didn't make money, so it's not good.
Yeah, come on, man.
Yes, it is, Marlon. Thank you, Strog. Strog also
when did
says,
it come out?
Good.
I forget.
1999. I wrote it down here.
Okay.
Yes, 1999.
What else came out during that time too? Like, what could have possibly taken away from it? Do you think?
I don't know. I'd have to look up to see like what opened around that time.
Looney Tunes back in action.
I did see it in theaters though.
Okay.
And I saw it in theaters, and it's always been a movie that I own it now, but it's always been a movie that I've always sort of gravitated towards. I like this film. It's done well.
Mm-hmm.
So what they do is Antonio Banderas and his translator basically end up in a Viking tent or whatever, and they've all gathered because there's they're there to talk to the Viking king. I'll call them Vikings. I don't know if they're really supposed to be.
Did you like Beowulf? Says Strug.
The animated one that they put out?
I guess.
Yeah, it was okay. I think it was like 3D animated. It was all right. 13th Warrior is a version of Beowulf.
Yep.
And it's a version of Beowulf combined with a diary that this Eben guy actually wrote about his adventures with the Volga Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
So they're combined, and this is based on a book called Eaters of the Dead, which I also own as well, which is really good. But it's a Michael Crichton fucking it's a Michael Crichton book. So
life finds a way.
Oh yeah, of course. And I think around this time, Michael Crichton was big for a long time, so that's probably why. And John McTiernan, Die Hard, shit like that.
Yeah.
So they're at the Viking thing, and they want to talk to the king, and one of the Viking guys goes, "He's over there," and they're like, "Where?" He's like, "He's right over there. He's dead." This is his funeral, asshole. And they're like, "Oh shit!" And you basically get to see a bunch of the Vikings, the ones that are going to go on this journey that we're going to go on in this movie.
Is it better than the fucking Lord of the Rings journey where they just walk everywhere?
Yes, there's no crying. There's no crying and homoerotic fucking little people with hairy feet. Oh, Lord of the Rings is terrible.
It is.
But there's like it's like a culture clash. You know what I mean? It's this Arab who comes from a time when Baghdad was like, it was considered like a mecca of. It was considered civilized.
Yeah, it's because it's the whole thing with the religious freedoms that were allowed and everything else, yeah.
Yeah. So...
now look at it today. Look how good it is.
Sure, yeah. So there's like a scene where they're all passing around this bowl of water, and they're like drinking from it, and then like washing their mouth out and spitting back into the bowl.
Oh boy!
And then like passing it to somebody else who will then take a drink from it and spit in it. Some guys like shooting like snot rockets into it.
Ew.
And then they pass it over to Eben, and he's like, "No, I'm done. I don't want that fucking thing." He's watching it come all the way around.
Ew.
But then eventually they get word from some kid shows up with a message, and it says this village that's like across, like it's far away. Like they've got to ride horses and camp for days and take a boat and shit like that.
So another question, at least maybe for me, just in general too. Do the Vikings rape and pillage at any point like they do?
No.
Okay, they're not those type of Vikings.
No. I think they don't do it because it's their own people.
Okay.
Like they've already raped and pillaged everything. Okay. It's like their own shit now, so it doesn't make sense to break your own shit. So it's like that. But the boy says, we need help. There is I think they're called the Wendell. There's monsters that are attacking this off village that's sort of like allies with them. People know everybody. Now the main Viking
where
is
everybody knows your name.
The main Viking is called like Bullawilf or Bullawife or something like that. His name is
Bullawife. build a wife.
It's weird because everybody says it differently.
Okay.
So it's like Buliwyfe.
Okay.
Some Viking name or whatever.
Stupid
but then
Scandinavians.
they call out this old lady.
Uh-huh.
Right? This she's like the seer. This is where the sorcery kind of comes in.
Uh-huh.
She's like this old seer, and she comes out, and they're trying to figure out they want to talk to her before they go on the adventure. She's going to dictate how this happens. Oh, a cool thing you get to see is an actual like Viking funeral. Like they have like awesome Viking ship, and they put the king in it and set it on fire and do all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But this lady basically like rolls some bones,
Uh-huh.
and she's like, we need 13 warriors, one warrior for every month in the year. So this is when there's like 13.
Yeah, it's because that's Scandinavians, yeah.
Yeah. So she says, so eventually, like you start to get like your group of Vikings that are going with you. They're all like volunteering, and everybody's cheering.
And let me guess, the fucking Arab Eben that actually goes with them too.
Well, he has to go with them because the 13th warrior cannot be a Northman.
Okay.
It has to be a foreigner. Can't be somebody who's of North blood. So, and that's what the bones say. So
listen to those bones.
So right when that happens, they all look at him. And he's like, oh shit, so he's got to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing that they really do in this movie that I like is there are no subtitles. There's a little bit here and there, but when you're in like the Viking tent, you have no idea what they're saying. You have to go with the translator, so you feel like a foreigner.
Mm-hmm.
You have no idea.
I mean, Evan isn't speaking English though, is he?
No, he is. Well, he is speaking. He speaks English. When he's talking with his translator, you can understand what they're saying because they're speaking English.
Okay.
But it's supposed to be, whatever.
It's supposed to be Arabic.
You can't understand the Vikings, what they're saying, until after like a couple days of camping. He's been like paying attention to them when they're talking and shit like that. At first they make fun of him for his horse. They see his horse and they call it a dog and they start barking at it.
Yep.
And they say only an Arab would bring a dog to battle.
Yep.
But eventually he's like camping because they have to travel to this village. So they're camping, and as he's paying attention, and you're going through all these different nights, and there's no subtitles. You don't know what they're saying.
Yeah.
And then eventually, like they start to do this weird thing with the audio where some words make sense, some words don't make sense. You kind of think you know what they're saying.
Okay.
And then eventually, after like one of the nights of camping, boom, you can hear what they're saying. They're like speaking in English now.
Yeah, of course.
So he can hear everything they're saying, and just as he figures out what they're saying, one of the guys goes, probably some smoke-fired camp girl, look like this one's mother, and points over to Eben.
Uh-huh.
And Eben he's speaking their language now. It's all in English, but he's supposed to be speaking their language now. And he just says, my mother, and they all look over at him, and they're all shocked that he knows what they're saying about him. And he's like, my mother was a good and pure woman, or whatever like that.
Yeah,
and they're
whatever.
like, how do you know our fucking language?
Yep.
And he's like, oh, I listened. And it becomes there starts to become this thing. First thing he does when he learns their language is two things. The first thing he does is insult them.
Of course.
The second thing he does is try to tell them about the Prophet Muhammad.
Of course, yeah.
And how he is the one true God.
Of course.
And it becomes this thing between him and I'll just call him Beowulf because I don't know his name. But it becomes this thing between him and Beowulf that Beowulf says, can you draw sound? And he's like, yeah. And the first thing he draws is there is only one God, and his prophet is Muhammad. Like he draws that out. And that's him and Beowulf are like, Beowulf is very interested in the fact that you can draw sounds. He likes that idea. So then they go on so then they're on this awesome boat ride, to get to the thing, and it's just like raining and it's all storming and shit like that, you know, and they're all laughing. They laugh so much in this movie. The Norsemen just laugh their asses off
so,
after
Jenova,
everything.
Jenova, just to pause you for a second, but there's something in chat you need to read.
What is it? Who
Clausen,
said it?
Clausen, take a look.
Oh no. Let me see. I'm walking back to my computer. A setting you will never see in fantasy is Ohio. That setting falls squarely under tragedy.
And then I have Sweets here under that too. I don't know. Isn't Jenova actually a character from a fantasy genre?
Jenova?
Yes.
Jenova is a character from
Final Fantasy
VII.
Yep. It's the god. Woman.
Yeah, new god. Yeah, it's the woman. They like clone all the DNA and shit
like
that.
I just figured you should. I figured you should read that.
Phillies were getting their ass kicked by the Indians last time I checked. I don't know if they won that game or not, but it was 4-0 last time I saw.
Awkward. Jenova's a chick, says Sweets.
Yeah, she is a woman. Which means you should all bow to me, according to Kevin Sorbo.
The cultured brown man will show the white caveman how to write, says Strong.
Yeah.
Jenova, are you a weeb? Yeah.
No, I'm not.
He just loves that Final Fantasy.
I like certain bits of anime. I like some anime, but I wouldn't say a weeb. I like samurai movies, but I don't think I don't think Asians are a superior culture.
They're not a superior race, that's for sure.
I just don't think that. I think if there's any superior culture, it's probably the Norsemen, or at least it was.
They're dead now. They're cucks, so it doesn't matter.
Well, they are now. So eventually we get to the village, right? And they show up, and like they're all sort of like
Jenova's
discussing
canceled.
What they're gonna. I'm canceled. Who said that?
Porky.
Of course, Porky. I told you to leave. No, Porky, please stay.
Please, you help our ad revenue, Porky. Stay. Make us money.
We need the view. So eventually, yeah, they get to the village, and they're discussing it with the king, what's going on, you know. And already there's a little bit of tension between one of the king's guys, because he doesn't really want them there. But they're basically talking. They're trying to find out what it is, and they're like, well, it's the Wendell. And they're like, nobody has seen them in like 100 years. Like, they're dead. Like, they're extinct. They don't exist anymore. And they're like, no, they do. They raid the villages. And then they send down what they call the glowworm or the fireworm or the fire serpent. And they send down this big fire serpent that spits fire at you. And the Wendell come in the mist, and they live off in the mountains. That's what they say about the Wendell. And then there's some really good scenes in this movie, because the whole thing is basically they start to like defend they start to like set up defenses for the village, you know, and shit like that. And while they're doing that, they like look down and they see this kid like running in the middle of the field, you know, and they're like, what the fuck is that? And so they all like rush down there to find this kid, and he's just bloody and he's crying, and they grab him and they take him, and they're like, he was off at some sort of cabin that's off from the village where a bunch of people live. And they go, well, we need to go up there and check it out. So they go up there to check it out, and all the people in the cabin are they've been like eaten. Like, only their limbs are still alive. It's just bloody. Body parts are everywhere. And while they're like searching it, you can see behind the trees, like in the shadows, you can see that some of the Wendell are still there.
Yeah.
And the Wendell, they look like bears and shit like that. They have like bear shit, and that's the thing. You don't know if they're monsters or men or what they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So eventually they like go. They're like, holy shit! They've been eating people. That's what they do. They eat the dead.
Yeah.
That's basically what the title of the book is, Eaters of the Dead. And then there's some really fun, like one of my favorite scenes is one of the women tells them that the guy we were talking about, he looks like Caesar. He looks like Julius Caesar. So we'll just call him Julius.
Okay.
So Julius is apparently, the woman tells him Julius is poisoning the king's ear. He whispers all this shit into the fucking king's ear and shit like that.
Of course.
And
as you do.
Right. And basically the Vikings decide that needs to be handled. We need to make an example. And they're like, okay, who? The redhead? And they look up and there's this like massive redhead that's standing next to Julius. And they're like, yep, we'll do him. And the Vikings have, and they're all characters, right? They're all awesome. And they have a really small guy that's with them. Like he's the smallest out of all of them. He's even shorter than Eben, who's just supposed to be like this fragile Arab.
I'm just gonna ask this. It's not since I haven't seen the film, but the book itself is the historical fiction as well, right? That's based on the Beowulf stuff. I mean, Beowulf itself is a tale.
From what I remember reading was the way Michael Crichton wrote the book was he actually got a copy of the diary of this Eben guy who apparently really existed, and apparently went on the adventures with these Vikings. And he got a copy of the diary. He found one of the stories, and then he just went in and he just wrote along with the diary itself, and added in like hints of Beowulf and stuff. And then that's how you got Eaters of the Dead.
Okay. Just wanted to be sure how that like came about, like how it really happened. Okay.
So they're like, yes, we need to make an example of the redhead. The smallest guy of the Viking, I mean, he's short, dude. He's got to be like 5'6", something like that, compared to the rest of them who are like 6 foot something. You know, he's the smallest guy there. And while they're digging trenches to put like stakes in, you know, to stop horses and shit like that.
Yeah.
He's digging, and the small guy just throws mud onto the redhead's back. Right, and the guy goes, "Hey, watch where you're throwing that stuff." He's like, "Oh yeah, okay." And then he picks up another one and just, dude, even more mud right onto this guy's back. And the guy goes, "You dig like a dog." He goes, "I'm a dog?" He goes, "You don't listen well." He goes, "Oh, I'm deaf." And he just starts this argument with this redhead, right? Who's like Julius's right-hand man.
Yeah.
And the guy is like, he's like a whole 1.5 feet taller than the little Viking.
Yeah.
So they're gonna solve it the way you're supposed to solve it.
Violence.
And yes. So they're all in a circle, and it's the thing where they have like 3 shields, and once your 3 shields have broken, you've lost, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they go and they tap their shields, and the redhead is just crushing. He's just power blows, boom, breaking shields, and the little Viking has to keep going over with, you know, eventually he's on his 3rd shield, it gets broken, and he's all tired and everything like that, and he's sitting there, and you look over, the camera looks over, and you see Julius, and he gives the redhead the nod to cut the little Viking's head off.
Welp.
So right as the redhead goes to do it, little Viking turns around and cuts the redhead's head off. And then walks away, and he's not tired anymore.
Yep.
And like Eben is like, "You could have killed him at any time." And he goes, "Exactly." He goes, "But why didn't you just kill him then?" And he's like, "Because any fool can calculate strength. Now he has to calculate what he can't see. It's deception."
Yep.
So even the smallest of these Vikings is stronger than your toughest guy.
Yep.
So that's a great scene that happens. There's another scene that happens. They give Eben a broadsword.
Yeah, you told me about this. But
and he can't. Yeah, he can't fucking lift the broadsword.
Yeah.
And they're like, they tell him, he goes, "I can't lift this." They're like, "We'll grow stronger." Well, eventually he's trying to like cut wood into like spikes, like a pointy end, but he can't do it. He keeps missing the wood because the sword is too heavy. Yep. So he goes over, he asks for a metalsmith, goes over to the metalsmith and makes this like little he turns the sword into like an Arab type sword. It's thinner, it's lighter, and he can do all this stuff with it. And they're all laughing at him, and he's flipping it around and doing all this fancy stuff with the sword. And then he points it at one of the Vikings, and the Viking laughs and looks at him and goes, "When you die, can I give that to my daughter?" And Eben's laughing. He's learned to actually like go along with everything. But then eventually they have to they get attacked. They get attacked, and the mist is coming in and shit like that, and they get attacked, and here comes the fireworm, right? And
what is the fireworm?
It's just men.
Okay.
It's just men on horses with torches coming down from it's the Wendell coming down from the mountains.
I see.
But but it looks in the mist, you know, and of course at that time you don't know what things are.
Yeah.
It looks, because of the way they come down the mountain, it slithers and winds. You know, so it looks, and they're shooting like fire arrows out of it, because that's the other thing they say. The fire serpent spits fire.
Yep.
And that's what they do. So they try to raid the village, and the fucking some of the Vikings go down, a couple of them go down, but most of them are keeping their own, even Eben. And while they're fighting, Eben is starting to realize, like, they're just men. Like, they're like, these are just men, but they're still not sure, because they've killed a bunch of them, you know. And there are, when the battle is over, there are no dead Wendell. They don't know where they've gone, and it's because they've taken all their men with them. Now the thing about the Wendell is that they wear bear hoods and bear heads, so they look like bears. A lot of their weapons are like clubs with bear claws on the end of them, so they swing those and they just cut you open with the bear claws. It's similar to like a mace or a club, I guess you could say. But eventually they want to attack. They got to go attack, right? Because Beowulf basically says, well, if they're men, then they have to sleep, and if they have to sleep, then they have a lair. So they're trying to find the lair of where the Wendell are.
Yeah.
And Eben is like, they want us to think they're bears, but they think that they are bears.
So they probably hide in caves.
So they're in a cave. And then he goes, well, how do you hunt bears? He asks them, how do you hunt a bear? And they give him, I can't remember the answer they give him. And he goes, no. How do you hunt a bear in the winter? And he goes, you go into its cave with spears. And then they go, oh shit, there's a cave. So they actually find a trail that is blatantly obvious up into the mountains. And they go, this trail is obvious. Why? He goes, because they're not scared of us. They don't think that we'll come up here, and they think they can take us.
Yep.
So they go up there and they find a cave entrance, which is really hard to find. And before this, before they actually go there, they speak to one of the witch ladies that's for this village. She's an old seer. She's mad, and one of the girls goes, we've got to go see the mad old woman. And he goes, and Eben's like, she's mad? And he's like, yeah. And the Viking goes, those are the best people to get advice from, is the crazy people.
Of course.
So they go, and she basically tells them, like, you have to kill the mother, the mother Wendell, and you have to kill the warlord. He wears the horns of power, and you can actually see this guy. He's like in battle. He's got his bear thing on, but he's got these like 4 massive horns that stick out from the side of his head.
Of course.
It's they look really awesome, and especially when like they're fighting, they do a good job with the cinematography. Like, a lot of it's in like fire and shadow and nighttime, so you're trying to see, is that a man or is that a bear? And they look mythical before you realize that they really are men.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. I've heard that they're not necessarily supposed to be men, that they're supposed to be
Neanderthals, right?
Yeah, they're supposed to be like a last dying tribe of Neanderthals.
I mean, it could be.
Well, I mean, who knows? Who knows? But
Michael Crichton obviously knows.
Michael Crichton knows. Well, he did know. Now he's dead.
Yep.
So they go in. So they sneak into the cave of the Wendell. And they're looking around, and eventually they get caught and they have to fight. So they start fighting. Beowulf goes after the wolf. I'm sorry. Beowulf goes after the Wendell mother, right? And she's got these poisonous claws, and she lives in this room with this massive like root system.
Yep.
And it's like everywhere, and there's all these severed heads hanging off the roots.
Of course, as you do.
Yeah, and some great decor. And she's even some of the severed heads are from like a previous battle that we saw, and we saw those guys die. It's some of the 13 Vikings that came.
Okay.
And some of their heads are like in the root system and shit.
Of course.
And she's got these poisonous claws, and she does scratch Beowulf with her claw, but only a second later, he's decapitated her, and her head goes flying off.
Of course.
And then they're basically stuck in the cave, so they have to like fight their way out a little bit, and then they find out they have to swim back, and eventually they make it okay. But Beowulf is dying. He has been poisoned.
How's he going to be in Legends now?
Well, the thing is, you know who Beowulf actually, when I was watching, when he's in like his full armor and shit, he looks like shit. I don't remember his name, but he looks like one of the main characters on the human side in World of Warcraft.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's like one of the sons, or like that becomes the king or whatever, and I think eventually he becomes one of the undead.
He becomes a Lich King, yeah.
Yeah, he looks like that guy.
He looks like Azrael or whatever the fucking dude's name is. Yeah.
Yes, I think that's his name. Yeah, he looks very similar.
Who totally wasn't based on any other character's fiction. Elric of Melbourne. Go on.
Who?
Elric of Melbourne.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, well, you'll learn eventually.
So yes, they get out of there, but they fail to kill the warlord. And they know he's coming. And Beowulf is just fucking. He's pale as shit, you know.
Oh yeah, it's Arthas. That's right. Correct, Cindy. I mean Jenny. What? Arthas is the guy's name.
From World of Warcraft.
Yes.
Okay.
Arthas, yeah. Becomes a
looks
fucking Lich King.
Just like that fucking guy when he's all decked out in his Viking armor and shit. So. So they've got to. So here comes. Next thing you know, like. Eben is. They're like, look, they're coming back. Like, we just killed their mother. We didn't kill the fucking warlord, and they're coming. And Eben is like, no, I don't think they'll be coming to. And just as he says that, you hear the horn off in the distance, Burn, and here comes the fireworm.
Of course.
Down from the thing, and there they all are. All the Wendell are gathered, and I think that's the other thing. There are no female Wendell.
Besides the mother?
Besides the mother. They're all men, from what I could see, even
How
in the
fuck is their race gonna continue, then?
I don't know. I guess they all gangbang the fucking Wendell mother. I don't know what the fuck they do.
That's inbreeding, though. That doesn't keep.
At least I don't remember seeing any women in the cave system. There was just a bunch of fucking, like, guys in there, like, eating human meat. So... but then they show up, and Beowulf actually shows up with his...
Gene doesn't even know the name of his own audience. That's right.
What?
That's right. Sour Parade, right? That's your name, not Sweets.
Sour Parade.
Salt Parade.
Oh, no.
It's just salty sweets, haha. Epic trouble, bruh.
So, yeah. So then, so yes, the fireworm comes down. Beowulf shows up, and he's had this dog running around with him. Big, massive dog. It probably comes up to like the waist. It's a big dog. And he's had this dog with him.
Does it look like I was gonna ask? Does it look almost like a just?
It looks like a
dire wolf. A dire wolf is what I was gonna ask. No.
No, it looks like an Irish wolf dog.
Okay.
Or like I think it might be an Irish setter.
Okay. It doesn't fully.
You ever seen them? They're massive.
Yeah,
dogs.
I get what you mean.
It looks just like that.
I feel sorry for you and your attempt. It's okay, Sweets. I feel sorry for me too. I'm gonna cry about it later and write my journal like Esau.
Of course, Esau has a journal.
Of course, yeah.
Dear Diary, today I ate 4 cupcakes and they were really good. And then I moved on to a whole ham. So yeah, the warlord shows up with his posse, and he gets taken out pretty easily. They do go to battle. There's about 4 or 5 of them left of the Vikings. A couple of them get killed. So then by the end, you're really left with 2 of them that are left. But Beowulf, even in his like poisoned state, you know, he takes out the warlord so fucking easy. That dude shows up and he's getting like hit from behind by other Wendels and shit. And he hits that fucking warlord right in his chest with a sword. Guy goes down, he stabs him, it's over. And once the other Wendels see this, they retreat. They all ride off. It's it's like that type of thing. Like the leader's dead, we can't continue to fight anymore. So they all leave, and that's like, and then Beowulf goes over to like this. It's not supposed to be a throne, but he like cuts off one of the spikes on it and sits down, and he dies sitting with his eyes open from the poison. And that's really the end. Eben eventually goes back on the boat, and one of the Vikings stays in the village because he likes one of the girls there.
You missed anything important? Not really, Stingray.
No, nothing important. And before Beowulf died, he told Eben that they said that he would get a king's funeral, even though he's not a king.
Yeah.
But they said he would get a king's funeral for what he did here. And he basically tells Eben, like, a man would feel wealthy if someone would draw his what happened here, draw the journey that happened here so people won't forget. And Eben basically tells him, like, I will tell your story. Like, I'll do that for you. Because none of them know how to write.
No.
And then it basically ends. Eben goes off on his boat. One of the Viking guys stays there, and then it's Eben. It cuts to Eben ending this. He's writing in his writing in the book.
His journal, yeah.
Yeah, and he's ending it, and that's the end of the movie.
Okay.
But
what would you rate it overall?
It's a 4 out of 5.
Nice.
It's a 4 out of 5 movie. I skipped over some things because there are other battles in there with the Wendell and shit like that, little small battles and shit. They get like ambushed by the Wendell when they're trying to find them. It's got great cinematography in it. It's just fantastic. The art direction is done very well. The dialogue is fucking fantastic. It's an awesome action movie. And I don't understand why it was a bomb.
Something must have just come out at the time that more people wanted to see. So
it had to have been. I guess Antonio Banderas couldn't draw people in. John McTiernan couldn't draw people in for it. I don't think anybody knew who the guy who plays the head Viking. I've seen him in some other things before, but I don't remember what. So. But I would give it a 4 out of 5.
Now I'm just curious. 1 second. Let me see if I Google in 13th Warrior what it says about like why it possibly bombed.
Yeah, it's probably somewhere in the Did You Know or in the Wikipedia.
I'll look at the Wikipedia and see what it says.
But it's a fantastic. If you have not seen the 13th Warrior, just watch it because it is so fucking cool.
Oh, that's why.
Why?
The Sixth Sense.
Oh, okay.
Fucking brought
yeah, sure.
Not this. Nope.
Sure. It came out with The Sixth Sense.
The weekend right after The Sixth Sense.
Oh, well, everybody was seeing The Sixth Sense then still. Yeah. Hey, that kid sees dead people. That's his secret. I actually watched a video about how The Sixth Sense makes no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
even once you know the twist at the end, it makes no sense.
Oh, the guy who fucking wait, who the fuck is this dude? Let me see.
Bullawolf or whatever his name is.
Yeah, that's not him. Someone else. Some guy named Omar, whatever his fucking name is, who apparently was another Viking or something. He was an Egyptian. He's an Egyptian actor of Lebanese descent, so he's one of Esau's people. He apparently retired.
I know who that.
He temporarily retired from acting because not taking a role in another major film until fucking 2003 movie.
Okay. Oh, that might have been his translator.
Oh, probably, yeah. So
That
yeah.
could have been his translator, because his translator certainly looks Arab.
Yeah, so it probably was him. Yeah, that's why I didn't, because of fucking... because of Sixth Sense, that's why
M. Night Shyamalan, and now M. Night Shyamalan is a fucking bomb.
Yep.
like the 13th Warrior, like, I can understand people, like, for the first time when the Sixth Sense came out, like, sure, that's a good movie, but, like, or at the time it was considered oh my god, have you seen the Sixth Sense? Holy shit, like the twist. But
it doesn't make sense.
That movie doesn't deserve to bomb because of the Sixth Sense.
Well,
like, holy shit.
That's why it bombed, because everyone was seeing the Sixth Sense and said the 13th Warrior, Jenova.
The Sixth Sense does not stand the test of time, but 13th Warrior certainly does.
Good.
I highly fucking recommend it to anybody who has not seen it. There is a bunch of shit that I skipped over. The dialogue is fucking fantastic. It's got all the Vikings are fucking cool as shit. They're so funny. So definitely, probably, I mean, it is considered sword and sorcery, and it's probably my favorite sword and sorcery.
It kind of is, but it's more historical fiction because it doesn't really have any of the elements of sword and sorcery.
Well, when I looked up sword and sorcery movies, it was right up there. It was like number 3.
Oh, that's strange. So... It's kind of funny because it's more historical fiction than anything else. But I get it. No, I guess because of the Wendells, maybe because they're kind of like mystical and the idea of like a snake. I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's some, like I said, there's some sorcery in there with the 2 like crazy ladies that.
Yeah, that's true. That's as well. Yeah. Yeah.
And you do get like the whole, they're not necessarily barbarians or anything like that.
They're Vikings.
There's a lot of sword fighting. There's like some of the guys are archers and shit like that. So.
Hi, Mop. How you doing?
One of the guys has like tattoos like over like across his face, like Norse tattoos. And then they always they talk about they have some prayer that they do to about Valhalla.
Yeah, they usually do. Vikings.
Do I see my father and my mother and my sister?
Yep, and my father's fathers and all that.
Yeah, in Valhalla, beckoning me and shit like that.
Yeah, my ancestors will beckon me with open arms in Valhalla and endless battles and peace.
And every time they get into something, Eben is like, "But we could die," and one of the Vikings is always like, "Yeah, that could happen," but they're not scared of it.
No, they're not scared.
You gotta go. Yeah. So I highly recommend it.
Because that's the whole thing with Vikings, too. They're not about just, coming to old age. They want to die in battle. That's the glorious way to die.
Yeah. I would even, 13th Warrior is probably in my top 20 movies of all time.
Wow.
That's how much I really enjoy this movie. It's got a simple plot, and, every scene advances the plot. Everything is for a reason. The Wendell are cool. The Vikings are cool. Even Antonio Banderas is kind of cool. Even though he is sort of the weakest link in the movie, even though he's the main character, it doesn't throw you off that much.
Okay. Alrighty.
Speaking of plots that make no sense, have you heard about Avengers Endgame? No? What about Avengers Endgame? I watched it. I reviewed it one time.
Yeah, and you loved it.
Oh yeah, it was fantastic.
Totally.
Okay, so we might as well move on to our final film.
We are moving on to our final film. We are moving on to Solomon Kane.
Solomon Kane, another Robert E. Howard thing.
Yes, Robert E. Howard's one of his most famous characters next to Conan the Barbarian. The saltwater Puritan who is black with his vengeance against evil. Sword buckling, swashing, guns. Yes, what?
Is he a
swashbuckler? Yes, there is swashbuckling in a lot of the actual.
But I thought a swashbuckler was a pirate.
Kind of. I mean, he sails the seas. He did technically do piracy against.
Well, he does. Doesn't he start out on a boat?
In this movie, yes.
In the movie, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And technically, he was fighting in the Queen's army during the thing in the story itself. It means that one guy says he is, but in the actual stories themselves, that's what Solomon Kane does, too. That's why he had to suffer the scars of the racks of Spain, because he was a criminal against the Spanish Empire.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So, yes.
He's English.
Yes, he is English.
James Purefoy.
Yes, plays him in this movie.
I think plays him in this movie.
Yes, correct. And you see him fighting against Arabs in the beginning.
He does. He does fight against Arabs.
To go into this hidden fucking castle of sorcery where death itself apparently is. Satan's death.
The Devil's Reaper.
The Devil's Reaper, that's right.
Is what it's called. The reason I like that scene is when they're going past like those like
glasses,
yeah, they're like glasses, and like as they're going, like skeleton monsters are like reaching out and grabbing guys and pulling them in.
Yep.
And they're disappearing without a sound.
Yep.
And like they're like, what? Where did this guy go? And then somebody gets pulled into another fucking mirror. It's fucking cool. That's what I like about this movie is like when it's the monsters or the fighting, that stuff's cool. Some of the other stuff is a little it drags on a little bit too for me.
Yeah, for you. The WAP.
Sure.
The Dago. The doo-wop daddy. All right.
The doo-wop daddy.
So past that.
Do rape.
You got it. What I was gonna say is he confronts the Devil's Reaper, and the Devil's Reaper tells him he's going to hell. Like no matter what, he's going to hell.
Yes, because of the life he's led.
Yes, the lifestyle he's led and everything else. And then Solomon Kane says, "No, I'm not gonna go," and he jumps through a fucking glass window and falls into the ocean. And there's the credit scene. It's time for the credits, and then we find Solomon back in England, where he's been in a monastery for forever. And the guy says, "You need to leave. You need to leave now. You can't stay here anymore." He's like, "Why are you doing this to me?"
He has like a dream, right?
Yeah, that was his dream. That was his dream that Solomon had to leave. And Solomon was also having that. The opening we see is technically a flashback, which is a dream he's having too, that haunts him as well. Where he draws all that stuff. He's drawing all the stuff. He's got all the like brands on his body as well. He's got those tattoos and brands and signs to keep him like safe.
Right. Yes.
And so yeah, Solomon's let out. He basically gets attacked on the road by these bunch of like bandits who just say like he's weak, and everything else. And then he gets like rescued by this family that he had met before. They're all going to the New World, America, to start a better life. That's what they want to do, but that's not what happens to any of them. They all meet some unfortunate ends. Because there's some crazy shit going down in there, Jenova. There's a guy turning people into people with black eyes and weird, like, throbbing black fucking veins.
Yes. The Masked Rider?
Yes.
Is that what they call him?
Yep.
Who is fucking awesome?
Yep.
He would fit right into 13th Warrior. He would fit right in there perfectly. His whole costume is awesome. He's got that crazy mask on his face that looks like human flesh.
Yep, it's pulled taut, yep.
Yeah, and he doesn't speak. He doesn't say anything. And he basically, like, he gets one of those bandits and, like, puts his hands on his head and, like, sears his head. And, like, it basically turns him into... It turns people into bad. I think what they said is they turn the weak into slaves and they turn the strong into soldiers.
Yep.
Is what they do. And he's basically recruiting people for Malachi.
Yep, Malachi. Who is a sorcerer who used to be a priest who sold his soul to the devil for power.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as they do.
Hey, it happens.
It just happens in the Catholic faith.
It happens, sure. Sure, it happens all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd give my soul for, anytime somebody says, like, I'd give my left nut to do, that's basically you giving your soul.
Of course. So Solomon's whole thing is that he doesn't want... Oh, you want to go ahead?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did we talk about the witch? Did we get to the witch yet?
No, we have not gotten to the witch yet because we were just going through the family and everything else. We had got to the fact that he was with the family rescues him and everything else. He says the whole stuff of like, I was a wicked man once, I was horrible, all this other stuff of how he, goes about the remorseful thing, which Solomon Kane never does in the actual books because, again, it's something they added for the movie because he's a former pirate. So he has to be all remorseful about everything. But one of the best lines comes when... no, actually, there's the whole witch scene first, which the witch is basically in the guise of a little girl that basically infiltrates them after this whole fucking village is burnt to the ground.
Yeah.
And people's eyes are burned out.
I saw the witch coming.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, I saw it too.
I was like, oh, it's totally this little.
Yeah,
girl.
especially when you see how crazy she acts with the cross, and then the act of God and pray. Yeah.
But the whole thing is like there's like this stake in the middle of the village, and everything around the stake is just
charred. Yep.
Is just charred, and all the people have their eyes burnt out because she burned them because they showed up to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So she burned their eyes out and everything. It's fucking.
Oh
cool.
yeah, sorry, I forgot. Remember when he's knocked out for the first time? He has a flashback back to his past where his dad and his brother are basically saying like, "You're gonna become a priest at the abbey, so they're gonna take you." He's like, "No, I don't want to do that." Then leave. Then you'll never come back. You'll never be welcome back for anything. I'm gonna take you out of my will and inheritance.
Yeah, and he just walks away because he doesn't want to do that. He's only like 7.
Yep.
Something like that. He's probably like 9.
Probably,
like,
yeah.
He's ready to go off on his own.
Yep.
And in that flashback, he comes across his brother.
Yep, that's the second time he has the flashback where his brother's trying to rape somebody. Yeah, and he basically pushes him off a cliff.
Yeah, he pushes off a cliff. His brother dies because he got pushed off a cliff.
Yep. And that means Solomon's the inheritor of his father's fortune now.
Right, yes, exactly. But eventually, like, what happens? The witch...
Well, yeah, the witch basically puts the mark on the daughter, and then she flies away into crows. Remember that scene?
Yes.
Where it's actually kind of cool when you see him, like, fighting with the witch, because she goes, like, from young girl to, like,
old hag.
Yeah, old hag, but it's, like, very slow. It's, like, first young girl, then older woman, then hag, then fucking turns into crows.
Yeah. It's cool. Like that's the type of shit in this movie that I like.
Mm-hmm.
If they would have done a little more of it, I think I would have liked it a little more.
Yeah. I still like this movie. This one was the one I was looking forward the most to seeing, because I hadn't seen it.
Yeah. Oh, the thing is, watching it, I it's not a bad film, but I can see why it didn't lead to more movies.
That and it's like 3 countries fucking made this film. It was fucking America, Belgium, and the Czech Republic.
2 of those are barely countries.
I know. It's just that's where they filmed for the forest scenes of the Czech Republic, because the Czech Republic has those kind of forests in it, I guess.
Yeah.
So after that, you see the bandits that he had seen before. They get turned into those fucking black-eyed monstrosities.
Yeah.
And they come upon the entire caravan that he's been with.
Yeah, and they grab the little boy.
They grab the little boy and say, "Kill me, kill me." You want to. He's like, I'm a man of God, I'm a man of peace, all this other stuff. Then he kills the boy, and then Solomon Kane says one of the best fucking lines in this movie. "If my price is to kill you is to go to hell, that is a price I will gladly fucking pay."
Mm-hmm.
And he does. Yep, he goes, kills that dude, kills everybody else.
Yeah, and it's like the Masked Rider is there too, and he's trying to talk to him and say like, why are you doing this? Like, you have control over these guys. Like, don't do this. You don't have to do it. And the Masked Rider just like
he uses his hand. Yep, and he like controls him like that, like a puppet.
Yeah, some like little sorcery going on there.
And then like everybody else dies. The girls gets kidnapped, and I forgot to mention that Solomon had rags for the majority of this. Things like in a Puritan outfit. And then after the battle, after the battle itself, he has the cloak, which Solomon Kane has too, and he has the twin rapier swords and the twin pistols and like everything that makes Solomon Kane look like Solomon Kane.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, they cut that kid's throat.
Yeah, they do.
That little kid gets his throat cut.
Yep.
Like they actually do it, and I was watching the scene. I was like, "Do it, you won't. You ain't got the balls to be." Do it. He does it.
Yep.
Does it, kills that kid, and then they steal the girl.
Yep, they steal the girl and take her away.
Yeah, and then he sort of like he ends up like in an inn.
He does, somewhere. But afterwards, after the scene, he goes back to check on all of them too. Remember that? Because he checks on the father and mother, and the father says like, "If you get my daughter back and save her, I promise and I swear on the oath of God that you will be redeemed." That's what he tells Solomon Kane.
Right. Yes. So he tries to get her back, but he can't find her.
Yep. And then he goes to before the inn. He goes to the church. Remember?
Oh yeah, the church with the one priest in it.
Yeah, the one priest, and everybody's turned to an undead, and he tries feeding them human flesh.
Yeah, yeah, that scene's pretty funny because he's like, well, what am I supposed to do with them? He's like, dear God, man, put them out of their misery, kill them.
Yep.
And he goes, well, I've been feeding them.
Yeah.
He's like, feeding them.
What? Feeding them while he like sneaks them up. Yep. He jumps them. Yeah.
Yeah, he jumps them and throws them into the pit.
Mm-hmm. And then the priest gets its head cut off by the bandits because the bandits are there as the undead. After Solomon Kane escapes the ravenous undead that don't have any control. They basically all try fighting him. He kills like 2 of them real easily because they all said like, oh, he's the man that's not going to fight us, right? You're not going to do anything. It's like, oh, about that. I think I've changed my mind.
Yes.
He fucking kills like 2 of the guys instantly. Then he has the other guy like saying, this girl, have you seen her? Talk. And he's like, she's dead. She's dead. I see her. She's dead. And he like loses hope. And that's when he gets real mopey. And that's a scene that kind of extends too long.
Yeah, and then that's when he ends up at the inn.
Yes. Oh, remember too.
People...
Remember, sorry, I'm just trying to remember the scene. Remember when he's going and saving other people from like the caravan stuff and everything else, and he like sees this one girl's like, "Tell me, have you seen her? Have you seen her?" She's like, "No, please, let me go home. Don't hurt me." He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to like push you so much. Go in God's graces." Yeah,
he kind of scares her.
Yeah, and he realizes he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." He didn't really mean to do that.
No, he didn't mean to do that.
He's like, "Go in peace, child."
Yes, go in peace. But then he does end up at the inn, where he finds
his former first mate, who's there apparently.
Yes, former first mate in there. I think he knows a couple of the other guys.
Yeah, a few of them, yeah. But the first mate does, and they said like, "You'll save us." Right? He's like, "You gotta save yourselves. I can't do everything for you." And he's like,
"Yeah," and they want him to like join them.
Yeah.
But he's like, no, I'm not doing that. But then the inn gets raided.
Yep, the inn gets raided and he gets captured and crucified.
Oh, the crucify. Dude, the crucifixion scene is pretty fucking tough.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised they showed as much as they did. Because they show you the nails going into the hand. And I was like, okay, all right. I mean, there's not a lot of like blood
no,
coming
but
from
it's
the
still
hand.
It's hard to watch, yeah.
It's a little hard to watch because the guy is screaming the whole time, like, have mercy, and they're like, no, they're just crucifying the guys. They put them all up. Even Solomon gets crucified.
Yep, it's because they say to him, this is the man who can't save you. This is the guy who you had your hopes in. Now see as we crucify him and burn your village to the ground.
Yes.
And the whole, like, if you don't join us, you're dead, just like Solomon Kane is. But when he's on the cross, the caravan passes that has the girl he's trying to save in it, and he's get renewed strength, and he basically pulls himself off the fucking cross.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
He's just like, ugh! He's like, the Lord is with me.
Yep.
He falls, and then he's on the ground and beats the shit out of everybody and kills them. And then his former first mate arrives and everything else, and it's all about like, oh yeah, we're all gonna be together now, and they're like, oh, we should prepare and everything else. We should get ready, and Solomon's like, no, we need to go like now.
We gotta go now.
Yeah, it needs to happen now, like right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then they do go, and they basically start raiding the castle. But guess where the castle is? It's his own. It's Axford or whatever it's called, or Ax something.
It's his father's castle.
Yes.
The castle that he left in the flashback.
Yep, it's the castle he left in the flashback. And then
he takes them in through a secret tunnel.
Yep, it's a sewer tunnel that he gets through. It's like, I never said we go through the front door. This is my home after all. I know the way in.
Yes. So he takes them through a secret tunnel, and while he's down there, he's freeing some captives that are down there, and he comes across his father.
Yep, his father's been chained there. And then we realize the truth about the masked dude. It's really his brother the whole time that has a curse on him.
Marcus.
Yep, his brother Marcus.
Yes, his brother Marcus, and
who didn't die from getting fall. He just basically was in a coma or some shit and disfigured.
Well, the father went to Malachi.
Yep.
To bring him back.
A sorcerer. Yep.
Yes, to bring him back, and that is sort of what's created this whole clusterfuck.
Yep.
That's been going on in the movie. This whole the masked rider, which is Marcus, is now like under control of Malachi and shit like that. And eventually he's got to fight. Well, he kills his father because his father asks.
Yeah, because he's basically chained up there magically, and he can't like be freed, and it's got black magic on it. So he asks his son to kill him, and he does. So then there's that. Since father's freed, technically, because the sorcerer would keep him alive forever. Then he goes to the like throne room after everything else is going down and getting crazy. And
there's Malachi.
Yep, Malachi just sitting on that fucking throne.
Who looks pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, the whole like the scripture on his face and everything else, and the tattoos. The fact the robes look like interwoven, and the fact that the throne itself is like got this corruption of like rot on it with the stems and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that a lot, and I like the mirrors that are there too, because his whole thing is like he uses mirrors to like get demons and shit.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that because they do have that massive one. It's like a portal, right? And behind it is just this massive demon that's like it's trying to claw its way out, but it can't get out.
Yep.
And but before that, he confronts Marcus.
Yep. And he keeps trying to like talk to him the whole time, but Marcus can't like hear him and everything else, or maybe he does hear him, but he's like, "I'm sick of you, Solomon," and all this shit.
And he tries to tell him, he's like, you are the heir. You control this castle. You can fight it off. But Marcus ain't fucking around. He don't give a shit.
Yeah, he's also under control and everything else. Then he lights on fire.
Yes, that's pretty cool.
Then he removes the mask while he's on fire. Then he...
he's all disfigured. He's like, one eye has like that massive scar. That gash going down his one eye.
And then when he basically defeats his brother, he says, "Rest in peace, my brother. May you find, like, heaven's gates," or some shit like that.
Yep.
And then the fucking wizard, Malekith, opens the door with the chick's blood, because she is basically pure of heart, so that's what can let a demon through, apparently. And the demon gets through, and it's...
blood of the innocent.
Yep. And it's CGI fire demon.
Yeah, and this thing just comes out. It reminds me of what's that movie? Or I'm sorry, what's that video game? It's made by the guys that did like Dark Souls, but it's like HP Lovecraft type.
Oh,
shit.
You mean Bloodborne?
Yes, it reminds me of something I would see in Bloodborne.
Yeah.
The demon, or even in Dark Souls. Probably.
Yeah, because it's all flamey like anything in Dark Souls usually.
Yeah, it's like the inside of it is like all fire. Yep. It's got like, it looks like it's got like armor on and shit like that, and it's massive.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got to fight it.
Yep, he's basically trying to avoid running around it, doing all this other stuff. Then he's at Marcus, and Marcus is like, Malekith, and Malekith basically says, if you try to do anything else, slit her throat and everything else, is like, he said, and fucking Solomon says, "I'm gonna go to hell anyway, so I might as well take you fucking with me."
Yeah.
And shoots him in the head.
Right, and just as he shoots him in the head, that's when like the big demon is about to like come down for the crushing blow. And just as he does that,
he's redeemed.
Yes, he's redeemed, and it's like the power of God like destroys the demon
and pulls Malekith through the portal to hell.
Yeah, and he's like Solomon Kane is like lifted up into the air.
Yep.
It's kind of like a Constantine type thing.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
And then like the demon is dead, and like I think does it explode?
It explodes, and then turns into like light that basically pierces fucking Malekith through the
light. Yeah.
And then basically you think Solomon Kane's dead for a minute, but he's not. She turns him over. All like scarring and tattoos he had on him a bit are like gone off his face. So then it's like the end is like Solomon Kane saying, "Well, there was a time when people didn't stand up against evil. That time is over." That's how it ends.
It's over. And then he just basically goes off on his Solomon Kane adventures to fight evil forces all over the world.
Yep.
Which we never got to see.
Unfortunately. I would have loved to see it too.
Yeah. I think you could I think they could have done it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It was like I said, the bad guys were cool.
Mm-hmm.
Malachi and Marcus both look really fucking cool.
Mm-hmm. Even with even just the basic bad guys too, the black eye thing's pretty neat that you see people get corrupted.
Yeah, and they've got like the singed handprints in their fucking heads.
Yep.
That's fucking cool. Like even the witch, like remember the witch catches them at the castle,
and he tosses the blade at him. Yeah.
Yeah, she's got that ball that she's shaking, and she like throws it, and just as she throws it, he whips his sword through her fucking face.
Yep, and she dies.
Yeah, that's fucking cool. They could have done it.
I think so too.
But like I said, I can see why the movie.
You want to know why? Another reason why this movie also didn't as well? Because we didn't get it in the American audiences at all till like 2 years after the movie was done.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So they showed it everywhere else?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
I guess. Sure.
That's what they did.
That makes no sense.
It doesn't.
To me.
So could you since I can't click on it and I'll show this, we'll watch a little bit of some clips from this movie too. Could you clip on the Razor Fist video of Solomon Kane?
Yeah, 1 second here.
And could you get to the time of 15 minutes and 57 seconds?
15 minutes and 57 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, wait, 1 second. I gotta fix it anyways.
And then Dark Horse drops werewolves, statues possessed by Lucifer, and winged goddamn demons into the fray. Solomon Kane inspired The Witcher and Van Helsing.
Yep.
Maybe don't profane his fucking memory by reducing Robert E. Howard's character to a hollow superfluity in his own fucking genre. Dig? Imperfect, yet thanks to a consistent voice and some fine fucking art from Mario Guevara, I believe, still far and away the finest modern Kane comic. Next!
Here we go. Some clips from the movie.
I'm watching the Gmail.
I think it'll be fine. Razor's talking over it the entire time, too. As are we. We're talking
Now, the
over it.
vast majority of those who fired up this video with actual fucking foreknowledge of the character in question likely know who he is at all because of this underrated as fuck film adaptation.
Yep.
A joint effort from the Triple Entente of France, the Czech Republic, and Britain.
Yep,
It's no
Britain
stretch
as well,
to say
sorry.
this
It
is
wasn't
the
America
finest
that made
Robert
it.
E. Howard flick since
Conan.
by a country-ass mile. And maybe a bit better. Starring the
Closer to the
spectacular
material.
James Purefoy of HBO's Rome fame,
Yep.
he practically oozes puritanical pathos. And therein lies the film's fatal flaw. Too much whinging about his woman and waxing poetic about his piracy
Yep, that's what I
past.
don't like.
In origin,
Yep.
Solomon Kane's literary counterpart does not fucking share, might I add.
Never
and
really
not
does one
nearly
about that.
enough heathen murdering motherfucking witch
Yep,
slang.
that shit's
But the
awesome.
film
see the
is
Masked Rider.
fucking
Yep.
good, outright nailing the tone of the original
Yep,
novels
it's in the
and
spirit.
setting with
Not
superb
in the actual,
cinematography and set design all
Sure,
throughout.
yeah.
Purefoy is the perfect Solomon Kane and gave interviews aplenty about just how big a fan he is of this character.
And by the time we get to the end,
By the time
he is
we
the
get to the
Solomon
end.
Kane of the books.
Yep,
He's the man.
he is.
He's much more focused. He knows who he is, and he knows what his job is, which is to find evil in all its forms and send it burning back to hell.
Correct.
Very particular character that Howard created there. Unlike any of the other characters within his oeuvre, we know the muscle-bound characters and the Conans
Conan,
and
yep.
the Coles. And the Kane was one of his very early characters.
It was, yeah.
His most powerful character, most complex character.
It's just a shame the character written for the film isn't quite the Kane we all know
Yep.
and love. Fortunately, the world fucking is.
It is, yep.
The true malady at play with the motion picture adaptation of Solomon Kane owes to the weapons-grade dipshittery arrayed around the distribution of this film.
Here we go.
is
Take
an
a listen.
English-language film released in 2009
Yep.
that was nevertheless delayed in its American release.
Yep.
Till 2012.
Yep.
What in the honest
3
to
years.
goodness fuck were you thinking? The first Howard adaptation in over 2 decades, and you hawk it out to a beret-bedecked gaggle of Euro trash artifacts before you share it with the rest of the goddamn world? How is it possible I had an easier time finding a designated driver on the Motley Crue tour bus than a DVD of a film you told us about at an American comic convention 4 years fucking previously?
Yep.
And they said they want to make a 3-movie cycle.
They did
This
want to
is
make
great.
3.
I'll have the opportunity to make a modestly budgeted picture, hopefully on an epic scale. This is an independent picture done out of Europe with no American financing. It was a question of saying, we can do something which doesn't have the studio influence. It's original, it's classically made. And it's a character which has been sort of begging to be brought to the screen for a long time.
He really has,
And then
and
you
still
look at the
is
visuals of people like
begging
Gary
to be
Gianni
brought to the
created
screen
for it.
more.
You just see it happening.
Fortunately, for the few who actually located the fucking thing, it turned out to be a damn fine
look,
movie.
there's,
Recommended
Malekith.
even if you aren't a fan of the character. Fuck, maybe even especially if you aren't a fan of the character. Peerless perfection it fucking ain't, but it beats the balls clean off whatever dog shit Disney's trailing out to the
Correct.
monozygotic masses these days. Next!
Alright, that's how
oh
wait, we can watch this too. Here we go, I love this scene.
A time of witchcraft and sorcery, when no one stood against evil. That time is over.
Okay, now you can skip to the other. We can watch the behind-the-scenes stuff of the movie itself being made. It's a 4-minute.
Okay.
I was never more at home than I was in battle. I've done bad things.
Yep, he has done bad things.
My soul is damned.
This
Satan's creatures
Devil's
will take
Reaper.
me should I stray from the path of peace. I have renounced violence.
I've renounced violence.
And that's not your purpose, Solomon Kane. It's to fucking go down and kill evil.
Is that he is a determined, committed, powerful character.
Yep.
He's greedy, cold, vicious, hard-hearted.
He's a Puritan. That's what they are.
If they run away.
Come on, the great.
Hold steady.
Ooh.
Oh, that's the beginning where they get
Devil's
pulled in the
Reaper,
mirrors.
who has come to claim his soul and take him to hell.
That's a great scene
too. Yeah.
Solomon manages to escape, but from then on, he's absolutely terrified that the devil is going to come and get him again. So he starts on a
That's a
traveling
cool scene
journey.
where he's talking across the
He meets
ice.
various people. The first people he meets is a good Puritan family.
Yep, that's the one that stays throughout the entire movie. I mean, till the halfway point where
Off
they all
you
die.
ride. Thanks, friend, but no. The road ahead should not be traveled alone.
Puritan decided to sell up
Hey, it's that
completely all
dude.
his goods and
Peter
chattels and his
Postlewaite.
family and
Dwelly,
he's
yeah.
travelling towards Plymouth in order to
Whatever.
take ship to the New World. Just happens to encounter Solomon Kane on the way, and wherever Solomon Kane is, things happen.
That's correct.
Get back to the cart. Go on.
That's the village. We got to see the village being burned down. It's fucking ashes. Look at that shit.
An evil force has taken over the land. And nobody really knows who it
There
is
is.
or why it is, but it's an evil, bad force.
Look at Jay, you get to see all these scenes.
Dude, that
the
mask
family.
is so cool.
It
He
is.
escapes. But Solomon promises the father that he will find the girl and rescue her.
Yep.
And the father, who is a very, very religious man, says if you manage to find her and if you rescue her, your soul will be redeemed.
Yep.
And so it becomes a story of redemption.
Lot of
really.
rain.
It becomes a story of a man trying to find his innocence again.
Oh, we get to see this scene too.
No, look at it, please. Have you seen this girl?
It's a very particular character that Howard created there. Unlike any of the other characters.
We saw that.
You said that.
within
Yeah,
his,
I know it's a
Earth.
Razor's thing too.
We know the muscle-bound characters and the Conans and the Coles. But Kane was one of his very early characters, his most powerful character,
Correct.
most complex character.
Correct as well.
If I kill you, I
love
am
this.
bound for hell.
Here we go, I love that.
It is a price I shall gladly pay.
So good.
It's an original story by me, hopefully in the
Nice
style
North
of
Face
Howard,
jacket.
with due respect
cold?
to Howard and his character. I mean, I don't want to create somebody new. I want to create the best version of Kane that could possibly go on screen. We know who he is. We know what a bad, bad man he was. We know the punishment he's got in
I mean,
store.
he wasn't a bad man
And
in the
fact that
original
he's doing
story.
anything to redeem
This is-
himself seems to make the perfect
was an Englishman
character
doing
arc
his
for me.
job.
Because then you drop James Purefoy
Competing
into the
against
mix
the
and he's
Spanish.
delivering a fairly astonishing performance.
First day we saw the dailies, we all look at it and we say, yeah, he's Kane. There is no
What the
doubt
fuck's
about
this dude
that.
saying?
I've made a fantasy movie
Hadida.
with proper drama, and I've not cheapened it. I've made it better, and I've done service to Robert
Ooh, yeah,
Howard's
there's that
original
scene.
vision as well.
Look, it's the demon.
Come on.
So, Chet, you got to see it a lot in the movie.
Yeah, they did.
There are many paths to redemption. Not all of them peaceful.
That's very true. That's what the monk says to him. And it's true, he wasn't supposed to be the peaceful path. He was supposed to be the vengeance of God.
Yep. So what would you rate the movie?
I gave it a 4.
Give it a 4.
Mm-hmm.
I give it a 3.5.
I figured you would.
Yeah, there's some things in it, like I said, like we talked about it, the
Yeah, we just
wincing and whining kind
Yeah.
of thing. But
And it's only because of the past they gave him. He wouldn't be doing it otherwise. Solomon never does go that at all.
Mhm. Yeah, sometimes it's not,
Good to make
it's
a
not-
creative path.
Yeah,
I get
yeah,
it for the
just-
narrative of your movie, but that's not what Solomon
just
really
be
is.
faithful to the character, and you will be successful.
Correct.
Don't change things.
No. Disrespectful 3.5 to Sweets? No, he likes it. It was a decent movie.
Yeah, it's decent. I mean, if you haven't seen it, it's worth a watch.
Jenova, get out, says Porky.
Yeah. No, you get out. So yeah, I would definitely.
I would recommend it too. If you want to see this movie, yeah, watch it. Yeah.
I would say at least watch it once.
Yeah.
If you're interested in it, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. I think it's a nice flick. If you want something different from Marvel trash you see every day, yeah, watch this.
Breaking news, Gene.
Mm-hmm.
Solomon Kane added to the MCU.
Oh God.
He will now be. He will get it. He won't
be played by a sassy black woman. I know. Thank you.
He'll be played by a trans black woman.
Mm-hmm.
And she will fight, and she'll be fighting against the tyrannical white patriarchy.
Of course. Thank you, Jenova. Breaking news.
Breaking news. Breaking news.
Nobody asked you, cocksucker.
So yeah, we definitely gone. Oh, we have gone over.
We have gone over time, yes.
So that's the Sword and Sorcery.
Yep, plenty of films. It's a big
There's definitely
genre,
plenty of films. We could probably do a whole fucking. We could do a whole nother one of these. We could definitely do a part 2 of Sword and
Strog
Sorcery.
is saying check Discord for plot holes. Yeah, there's a lot of plot holes in Endgame because Endgame sucks.
Yeah, I saw those videos, Strog. I'll probably watch them tomorrow when I get a chance. But yeah, Gene, do you have any shilling you want to do?
Yes, tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be doing a second Mythos of Music, and I'm doing it on none other than the Cramps.
Oh, the Cramps, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Lux is great. R.I.P. Lux.
Yeah, I know exactly. That's why that band's dead now, unfortunately, because Lux died.
Yep. Cramps are good.
Yep, and
Cramps are very good.
And Sunday we should be doing a banner rants as much as Etal can get around and actually not be a fat piece of shit. All right.
Yes, and I'm sure Sweets is doing something tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm sure she's probably doing another sped run or something. Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, she's usually live at like
7. At 7. So if you want to check Sweets out, guys, she might even do another movie thing like she did a couple while ago.
Okay.
Cupping us, I see. Do whatever. I don't care.
But yeah, we appreciate everybody coming out tonight.
Yep, good seeing you
yes,
all.
I am. I have no fucking clue what I'm doing, but yes, I am. So
okay.
Sweets.
Thank you, Sweets.
But yes, we appreciate everybody fucking coming out tonight. As always, we love everybody's input. We hope you watch some of these movies.
Mm-hmm. For sure, especially the ones I've recommended.
And if you don't,
that's fine too. Cool, you don't need to watch movies. It's fine.
Don't give a shit what you like or what you don't like.
Yeah. Unless it's Tool, then you are obviously Satan to me.
Tool is full of tools.
Yes, it is.
It's a perfect name for that band.
Exactly.
So yeah, thanks everybody for coming out, and we will. Oh, Monday. What are we doing Monday?
Oh, Monday we are doing none other than Herschel Gordon Lewis, the Godfather of Gore.
Godfather Gore. All right. And we will see you guys on Monday.
Yep. Take care, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Peace.